welcome tonight to DJ Britton Field for tonight's matchup between the Oliver Springs Bobcats and the Greenback Cherokees in your OEB Law Game of the Week. I'm Aaron Harvey, joined by the coach, James Gibson. Again, we'd like to welcome in OEB Law as our title sponsor for all games this season long. OEB Law is an East Tennessee-based law firm with a national practice. OEB is led by Timothy G. Elrod, and Elrod is from and still calls Anderson County his home. OEB's practiced in state, federal, and city courts. At OEB, they treat their clients like family and are proud to have earned a reputation as East Tennessee's premier personal injury law office. And that's why they've been voted Best of Knoxville for the past 3 years. For more information, call 865-546-1111 or go to recintoacheck.com. Again, I'm Aaron Harvey, joined by Coach James Gibson. We are at Oliver Springs at the high school here. The Greenback Cherokees are in town. And guess what? We're about halfway through this football season.
Yeah, the season's really flying by, but it's been a good one so far, and the best is yet to come.
I agree. This should be a great game tonight. Two talented but winless teams take the field tonight. Now, I say winless. Greenback has one win, but they didn't actually have to earn it. It was given to them via a COVID-19 forfeit from Sunbright. But, don't count either of these teams out. And, there's probably some drama that we need to discuss regarding tonight's game.
Yeah, sometimes little rivalries brew in big games, so this should be an exciting one. Greenback and Oliver Springs have had some history as of late, and I believe they've had some locker room chat that you're going to talk about next, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. So you're a coach. One of the cliche-ic things that I've heard coaches say is don't read the press clippings. Don't read the press clippings. I'll ask you later if that applies here. So this is the OEB Law Game of the Week. Greenback has made the trip to Oliver Springs High School for this one. We'll talk about games around the area when we get back. This is your OEB Law Game of the Week.
Football is back. And OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
The Harriman Utility Board is committed to providing safe and reliable natural gas service to our customers in Harriman and Roane County through the use of safe operational procedures with trained and knowledgeable personnel. An odorant is added to natural gas and maintained to a certain level so that in the event of a gas leak, it can be easily detected. If you smell or suspect a natural gas leak, please call the Harriman Utility Board at 882-3242. We can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Here is Helen Hammer.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
A lot of years have passed since that TV ad. Hammer stores are still offering up-to-the-minute fashions for men and women, famous label outdoor wear and boots, area rugs, and exciting purchases. All at Hammer's famous low prices.
Race on down!
Planning a funeral can be difficult at best, but it can be a lot easier if you work with people who care. That's Davis Funeral Home in Harriman and Wartburg. Davis Funeral Home gives attention to every detail, ensuring your loved ones will be remembered with honor and integrity. Davis Funeral Home works very hard to give you the most professional service possible. Davis Funeral Homes, Morgan Avenue in Harriman and Old Mill Road in Wartburg. Davis Funeral Homes, people who care.
You won this year's chili cook-off. Our girls played in the softball finals last spring. You're not just another policyholder to us. We remember your name. Hi, Cheryl.
He remembered my name.
Because it's your name. That's simple human sense.
Ask Griffin Insurance Agency in Kingston if auto owners make sense for you.
Jeff, Mary, Dan, Sarah.
Evans Mortuary.
Back at our OEB Law Game of the Week, I'm Aaron Harvey, joined by Coach James Gibson. Going to talk about some games in the area. So many great teams in all classifications of East Tennessee. One of those teams is Anderson County, which is now 2-2 on the year after losing to two great 5A schools in this crazy year of football. What do you take away from the record? The fact that AC played close games in the losses to Powell and South Doyle, or do you look at how Powell and South Doyle had to go down to the wire with the smaller AC?
I'm taking away that AC was almost able to pull off a couple of upsets over larger programs, okay? You're talking a lot larger enrollments, which means a lot larger group of people that the coaches can choose from, okay? So, I'm taking a bold prediction right now, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Anderson County does not lose another regular season game in 2020.
Well,
they're going to win out.
Well, they'll look to put wins ahead on the record tonight against Howard. Meanwhile, South Doyle has a tough showdown at home against Sevier County. Powell and Central both had to drop games because of COVID-19 this week. Powell and Central, two powerhouses, and so they did the natural thing, and they picked each other up, and they'll play Saturday at 7:30. Tickets went on sale yesterday and sold out within an hour. COVID has been a stain on the year of our Lord 2020, but this is a nice consolation gift. Who you got in this one?
Oh, this is a big, big game. And in my opinion, the biggest game in East Tennessee tonight. You can't understate how big this game really is. I'm going to go with Central 24 to Powell's 21.
I'm not even going to make a prediction because I'm afraid that I'm going to look stupid. So switching gears a little bit, let's talk about last night. West hosted Oak Ridge for Rivalry Thursday. What'd you see out of that one?
West defense is for real, okay? As they posted 3 shutouts so far in 2020, their defensive backs are flying around everywhere, and they picked off Oak Ridge quarterback Gibbons twice. They're the real deal. Defensively, Knoxville West is loaded with talent. Several pretty 3- and 4-star prospects sitting on that defense.
So you see some scores from last night as Knox West did get the win over Oak Ridge 22-7. And then also last night, Midway played Wartburg, and the Green Wave rolled over the Bulldogs 45-11. So we got a lot more great things to talk about in this area when we get back. But first, let's go ahead and take a break. You're tuned in to your OEB Law Game of the Week on Channel 12.
Evans Mortuary has been serving the needs of families in and around Roane County since 1976. As established members of our hometown community, we understand the security of dealing with people you know you can trust. We build our reputation on this trust. The Evans family appreciates the confidence the community has expressed in us over the years and will constantly strive to earn that favor. Evans Mortuary, 805 North Gateway.
I gotta go shower.
It's laundry night.
Dishwasher needs to run.
And the Hot Water Wars. A Renai tankless water heater gives you an endless supply of hot water for everything you need to do.
Feel the comforts of home with natural gas. Natural gas tankless water heaters cost almost 3 times less to operate annually than the electric models. Make the switch today.
Renai, hot water for all.
Hi, I'm Ray Varner, and we've got the vehicles you need to make the most of this season.
Whether you're exploring the great outdoors or cheering on your favorite team, let's take your fall to the next level in this new 2020 Ford F-150, $24,990. New 2020 Ford Explorer XLT, $40,986. New 2020 Ford Fusion, $19,698. At Ray Varner Ford in Clinton, we are Ford Truck Country. Come and see us today. Shop RayVarnerFord.com.
Back into your BBB TV Channel 12 Game of the Week, brought to you by OEB Law at DJ Britton Field. I'm Aaron Harvey with the coach James Gibson, and if you're streaming this game on Facebook and you want to watch it on television, well, if you're a Comcast subscriber in the Morgan, Roane, or Anderson County area, good news, it's on your TV. If you are not on Facebook but you want to stream this game, good luck. you can do it on YouTube. So there you go. If you are a cord cutter, well, we got something for you too. Download the Boxcast app on your Roku or Apple TV or your Fire TV stick and search up there, BBB TV Channel 12, and you can watch the games there as well. So a lot of ways to help you watch some high school football if the stadium of your choice is sold to capacity already. So let's move on here. Kingston, Coach James Gibson, has an opportunity to start the season 4-0 for the first time since 2015. And in that year, Coach Pankey's squad ended up with an 8-3 record. Tonight, they make the trip to Sevier County to take on Northview Academy. We've seen Kingston twice already. What do you think is driving the success of this Yellow Jackets team?
Their offense is potent, Aaron. They dominate time of possession and have enough playmakers on the edge to get big yards and big chunks. So Kingston looks good, and I look for that to continue at Northview. So this is a different ball team, and I'm really impressed with what Kingston has achieved so far.
We really like it when local teams do well, no matter who that team is, and we will root for local teams always. And we got to talk about this one. Oakdale got the 30-22 win over Wartburg last week to move to 3-1 on the season. Some notes about that: Oakdale was 1-9 just last season. The Eagles were shut out 47-0 against Wartburg last season. If you combine the 2017, 18, and 19 seasons, you're only going to find 4 wins total. How about that job that Coach J.R. Voiles has done in the southernmost school of Morgan County?
Well, I tell you, Aaron, we get caught up too much with the job that some of these larger school coaches do, winning state championships and so on and so forth. But Coach Voiles over at Oakdale needs some light shined on his progress over there. He's a good coach. He has done more at Oakdale than anyone else, I guarantee that. It's a very hard coaching job over there, and it's a constant struggle to field enough players to even have a team. So he needs some acknowledgement for the job that he has done over at Oakdale.
The challenge is grand for Oakdale tonight, however, as the Eagles travel to Coalfield to take on the orange and black Yellow Jackets. So some other games of interest tonight. We'll take a look at those, pull those up on your screen to let you know what else is going on tonight. So Howard at Anderson County, which we mentioned, and then Oakdale at Coalfield. Rockwood is at Meigs County. Meigs County, of course, last year's AA state runner-up. Coach John Webb's got a big challenge tonight down there in the county just south of Roan. And Greenback, of course, at Oliver Springs, that's our game. And then Harriman at Sunbright. Sunbright got back from COVID-19. They played on Saturday last week against Coalfield. And then Clinton versus Powell. And we talked, that was originally scheduled, but because of COVID-19, that got canceled. So now Central and Powell will play. So some pretty good games tonight.
Really is, and I'm excited about that Meigs County Rockwood game. Rockwood's playing some pretty good football right now. John Webb has that team fired up and moving in the right direction. So, there could be an upset down there.
Well, it will also depend on the health of that team because we got to see them last week, and they didn't finish the game with everyone they started with. So we don't know how Dryston Turner, how bad his injury was or how bad Jaden Hannibal's injury was. So it'll depend on that. Now, let's take a quick look at the season standings from the regions in our area. You look at Region 2 and Single A, Coalfield 3-0 on the year. That Yellow Jacket team, Coach Keith Henry has them where he normally has them this time of year. Midway is 3-1 overall, and that one loss was to Rockwood. Midway is having a great season so far. Greenback has the region win due to COVID. And then you look at Oliver Springs. They haven't played a region game. This will be their first one. They're 0-4 overall. That's going to change. They're going to get some wins down the stretch. Oakdale, however, has only played one region game, and they're 3-1 on the year. So Oakdale's looking so good this year. And then, of course, Harriman and Sunbright rounding out the bottom of that list. And then in the Region 2 AA standings, Meigs County on top of the world like everybody knew they would be. Oneida is 3-0. Oneida actually beat this Greenback team that we will see tonight 21-7. We've seen Rockwood twice. They're 2-2 on the year. Cumberland Gap, they're 2-2 on the year. And then Wartburg right there at the bottom, winless at 0-4. See, the thing about this Region 2 is there's only 5 teams, which means only one of them is going to get left out of the playoff picture. So right now, if you're Cumberland Gap or Wartburg, you've got to get a win.
You do. No more losses, especially if you're Wartburg. You got to get this turned around in a hurry if your expectation is to make the playoffs.
And moving forward, Region 2 and AAA, Alcoa, of course. I can't see Alcoa anymore. There it is. All right, Alcoa is 3-1 on the year. Of course, their loss coming to Maryville. And then Gatlinburg, Pittman, Kingston sitting right there, tied for second in that region. And then Pigeon Forge, Scott, Northview, and Austin East. Now, Austin East being 0-4 and 0-2 in the region, that's surprising.
It really is, but talent comes in waves at Austin East and at Fulton, so they'll be bouncing back pretty quickly.
And now we'll look at that 4A. East Hamilton, they're first. That's going to change. I have a feeling that you're right about Anderson County. They're not going to lose again.
Pretty bold prediction, but I tell you, I like Anderson County a lot. They have played a tough schedule, and I tell you, I see them winning out.
In 5A, you've got Powell, West, Oak Ridge. Those three schools right there are very, very good. And you look at Oak Ridge, they've got that 2-3 record, but the teams they've played have been pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to judge how good Oak Ridge is by looking at that record right there. Just looking at that, though, that kind of looks about right.
Yeah, I mean, Powell and Knox West has several Division I athletes on their squad, and it's a difference maker. That's not quite X's and O's. You're just playing with Jimmys and Joes, and you're better than everybody else. So they're loaded this year, but it's going to be some great games moving forward in that region.
All right. So that's a look at teams around our region. And then we've got a lot to say about this game that we're going to have tonight, so we'll get to that coming out of the break. You are tuned in to the OEB Law Game of the Week on BBB TV, Channel 12.
Football is back, and OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
The Harriman Utility Board is committed to providing safe and reliable natural gas service to our customers in Harriman and Roane County through the use of safe operational procedures with trained and knowledgeable personnel. An odorant is added to natural gas and maintained to a certain level so that in the event of a gas leak, it can be easily detected. If you smell or suspect a natural gas leak, please call the Harriman Utility Board at 882-3242. We can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Here is Helen Hammer.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
A lot of years have passed since that TV ad. Hammer stores are still offering up-to-the-minute fashions for men and women, famous label outdoor wear and boots, area rugs, and exciting purchases, all at Hammer's famous low prices.
Race on down!
There's something special about hearing a national anthem before a sporting event.
Always gives me goosebumps.
It does me too. So we're back on the OEB Law Game of the Week at DJ Britton Field at Oliver Springs High School. I'm Aaron Harvey with James Gibson. Again, brought to you by OEB Law. Any wreck, big or small, can turn your life upside down with bills, inconvenience, lost wages, and stress. OEB understands and knows you need a full and fair compensation for those losses, and to help you get your life back to as normal as possible, call 865-546-1111 or go to reckontoattack.com to see what OEB Law can do for you. So let's take a good look at this game. As you see, some information about the Greenback Cherokees. Now, coming into this game this week, I was like, okay, so it's Greenback and it's Oliver Springs. You know, they're fighting for wins. They're having trouble getting that success going early in the season. It's understandable. And then, you know, I thought we were going to have a good game. And then we got some information, and we'll go over that in just a little bit. So, yeah, the road to get to Game 5 for Oliver Springs has been tough. Larry Green's team was affected by a COVID cancellation, so they picked up 6A William Blunt on the Wednesday before the game was played. Then the Bobcats met an angry and focused Rockwood team and dropped a 35-8 decision on television. Well, then this team played the 3A Northview Academy and led the entire game before giving up a late score and losing in double overtime in a game that had nearly an hour delay toward the end of it because of a power outage. Oh, and did I mention they played 2A Oneida to start the season and played the undefeated Indians tough, falling just 14-6? Yeah, Greenback, last year's state runner-up, is the first single-A team Oz has played. So there has been no yellow brick road here.
No, I'm telling you, Aaron, Oliver Springs has played the toughest schedule in single A all across the state of Tennessee. I mean, you could probably pull that up and see what kind of strength of schedule you could pull, but I don't think anybody else in single A has played that type of schedule. So it's been pretty brutal for Oliver Springs.
So, and flip the coin here. Look at Greenback. You see the graphic on your screen there. Coach Ryan has not lost to a Region 2 team since becoming the head coach. That's strong right there. And so neither of these teams are happy with where they are at this point in the season. And this is the worst start through 4 games for Greenback since 2006. And that's a season where the final record was 1-9. The Cherokees are 1-3 with a lone win coming in a COVID-19 forfeit against Sunbright, which we told you about earlier. Last week, Coach Greg Ryan's team lost to Oneida 21-7, snapping a 5-game winning streak against the Indians. Now, to be fair, Greenback played Loudon to open the season, which is 4-0, and has a 32.5 average margin of victory so far. And Meigs County, another unbeaten team, which finished as the Class 2A runner-up last year. So both of these teams have had a really rough road so far. Is it too early to know what either Greenback or Oliver Springs really has?
Well, I know this. Greenback is in a position they aren't used to. Greenback fans aren't happy about it. You see it trending on social media, and you hear rumblings, and they're focused on this Oliver Springs team who is sitting at 0-4. They're looking at getting their first physical win of the season. So don't let their record fool you. Greenback is going to be all over Oliver Springs, and Oliver Springs will give Greenback their best effort tonight.
Both of these teams replaced major contributors from last year. For Oliver Springs, Trey Boswell is no longer the workhorse at running back, and Blake Crace is no longer handing him the ball. For Greenback, Braden Carnes is no longer tossing the rock around, and Holden Willis isn't making plays from the wide receiver position. Greenback, they've now got a roster that's nearly 50% freshmen, including the young quarterback, Brennan Dugan, who started the first 3 games of the season. On one hand, it's not a surprise these teams have struggled to get a win, but on another hand, these two have been through a gauntlet.
Gauntlet, underline, bold it. It's been a tough early part of the schedule for both teams, but they both can bounce back in the second half of the schedule. So I expect both of them to bounce out and get some wins here pretty quickly.
An interesting note about these two teams, you see the graphic on your screen. They've played each other twice the past 3 seasons, once in the regular season, once in the playoffs. Greenback has won each time, and the margin of victory has only been within 2 scores one time, a 28-18 regular season matchup in 2018. And Cherokee coach Greg Ryan isn't shying away from talking about it publicly. As you see the quote on your screen, quote, "It can't be a rivalry until they beat us." And then he continues to say, they're just another team on our schedule. We beat them 88-0 last year in both games. We will continue to beat Oliver Springs like we're accustomed to, and said that to a local newspaper for them to print. And Ryan also added this, which I thought was pretty interesting. He said that Coach Green had told him he thought OS was getting closer to where Greenback is last year, to which he says, my thoughts were we beat them 88-0 last year in a combination of 2 games. You don't normally get this kind of, as Canadians call it, chirping at the high school level. How does that quote make you feel as a coach and former player?
Well, it's pretty brash, isn't it? One thing about Coach Greg Ryan is he is a winner. He has won. He won as a player. He won a state championship over there as a player. He's won one as a coach. And like you said, you've seen the stats up there on the screen. But to be honest, I don't like it. Greenback has won a lot of ball games, and gloating over 2 wins over Oliver Springs tells me it's more of a rivalry than Coach Ryan really wants to admit. You don't hear Nick Saban commenting on Vanderbilt pregame speeches, do you? No. So, it's a little more heartfelt if he's commenting on it than what we know.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fair to compare Oliver Springs to Vanderbilt in your scenario, but comparing Greenback to Alabama, that's a very fair comparison because Coach Ryan, like we said, hasn't lost a Region 2 game since he became the head coach of this Greenback club. So if you had to put an SEC comparison to Oliver Springs, they've struggled a little bit of late, but they've had some strong years the last couple of years. I don't know. Maybe Oliver Springs is like a Tennessee type.
Yeah. But when you make a comment like that, 88-0 the last 2 times, you're basically calling them the weaker of the region. So, pretty big comment there.
We've got the coin toss going out on the field. Oliver Springs has won that coin toss, and Oliver Springs will receive the football to start the game. We talked about this last week, how most people defer. Every now and then, you'll get a team that wins the toss, and they say, hey, give us the football. What do you think the thinking is for Coach Larry Green?
I think he's trying to get something moving for his team. He's faced a lot of big squads, as you stated in pregame, and this is his first real opportunity to really be in this thing. And a lot of bad blood going on the last few years, and he's looking to take it to him.
And you'll see on your screen there right to the left, the guy in the purple jacket and the shorts. That is Coach Larry Green. Had a lot of success here with the middle school program at Oliver Springs before getting that promotion to take on the high school, and struggled the first couple of years he was there, but had a really nice-looking season last year. And I know expectations were pretty high for this Bobcat team coming in, but then you get the coronavirus, and you don't get preseason scrimmaging, and you have to substitute opponents, and it's not been an easy road for Oliver Springs. And I think for Coach Green and some of these Oliver Springs fans, you're hoping that difficult schedule has prepared you for a game like this, because let's be real, Greenback is a region opponent, but again, they were a state runner-up just last season. So for Oliver Springs, this is another really, really tough ball game to add to the list of tough ball games they've already had.
It really is. I mean, Greenback is one of the better high school programs in East Tennessee. Let's just be honest. I spent a lot of time over there when I was coaching college football, recruiting players, and lucky enough, pull out a couple really good ball players out of Greenback. So let me tell you, they're very talented over there. Football means a lot. It's a culture thing. And those kids grow up out there throwing hay, working in the hay fields. And it's a certain class of people, and they're blue collar, and they're really good. And it means a lot to them over there.
As we get prepared for our Davis Funeral Home kickoff, Davis Funeral Home with 2 locations in Wartburg and Harriman. You see the numbers on your screen, and go to davisfuneralhomes.com for more information. Set to kick it deep for Greenback to start this football game is Lucas Holmes. Back deep to receive for Oliver Springs is Gavin Hill and Tyler Bridges. And there's the kick. It's a really nice kickoff. Goes to Bridges, catches it at the 14-yard line, cuts it up middle, looking for some blockers, finds some room, gets up to the 34, maybe the 35. Great return, and that is where Oliver Springs will take over with a Hammers 1st and 10 to begin this football game.
Starting out with some pretty good field position for Oliver Springs, so let's see if they take advantage of it.
And there's the kick. It's
As we see on our Chuck Fleischman replay, yeah, caught that ball around the 14-yard line. Found some blockers in the middle of the field. And they do start at the 34-yard line. So for Oliver Springs at quarterback, it's Zach Elliott, the junior. Sends a man in motion. Doesn't hand off. Instead goes to his tailback with a lot of running room going up the left side. That's Brandon Nation. Nation leading this team in rushing yards. We'll see Nation and Heilman get the bulk of the carries tonight.
Ashton Orr from Greenback in on the tackle. Very talented 10th grader, 6'1", 201 pounds.
And it was a really nice tackle. 5-yard pickup brings up a 2nd and 5 for Oz. Elliott, 2 backs in the backfield with him. Sends a man in motion again. And this time it's Gavin Hill that gets the carry. And Hill gets the ball up close to the first down marker. He's going to be a yard shy, however, will bring up 3rd and 1.
You see on the replay, Greenback is sending 2 blitzers off the edge in a fast and hurry way. So Oliver Springs is trying to take advantage of that, running up at the middle there. Greenback coming out with 3 defensive linemen, 3-man front, roving around those linebackers.
And Oliver Springs has a big offensive line. And this time, a power I formation. Hard count. Here's the snap, handoff. And met at the line and dropped is Gavin Hill. Now on the tackle, was Braden Matoy. And so Oliver Springs will send the punt unit out.
Really big defensive stand for Greenback. Really secure tackles. They stay low. They're not arm tackling. 3-man front, and was able to beat a very tight formation for Oliver Springs.
A good, secure,
really good punt.
Goes high up into the air, and it is caught by Micah Franklin, who will come out and make his first start at quarterback for Greenback this season. So Greenback had been going with the freshman Dugan, but to try to change things up, they're going to bring Micah Franklin, who was a transfer from William Blunt, and they're just trying to provide a spark for this football team, and sometimes changing quarterbacks can do that.
Yeah, it really can. You just get a little different niche, somebody in the huddle, and it really can spark an offense.
Blake Fields is in the backfield. And a quarterback keeper for Franklin on the first play, not much there.
Really good tackle there by Hunter Adkins, little linebacker, senior, 5'9", 180, made a really good secure tackle. Oliver Springs coming out in the 3-man front, looks like a 3-4 look. More of a 3-3 stack look.
And this time, Greenback comes out 5 wide, so see what Franklin can do here. Drops back, 3-step drop, lets it go, and that pass is caught by Greenback's Cooper Williams, and that was intended for Blake Fields, but it went through Fields' hands.
Really good heads-up play by Cooper Williams, a 9th grader, 5'9", 137. That's a heads-up play to keep your eyes off of the tip ball like that. That's pretty difficult, and that's a drill that you work on a lot. So that's pretty heads-up.
And Fields is a very talented player for this Greenback team. You'll see him run the football or also line up outside and try to catch it, so they'll go his direction a lot tonight. Franklin with Fields in the backfield. Fakes the handoff. He's going to keep it going off right tackle. Gets across the 40. Should be enough for a first down. And I'd say, given the talent that Franklin has with his legs and with the ball in his hand, you'll probably see a lot of quarterback keepers tonight.
Yeah, because he can really pick up some tough yards with his speed.
So that brings up a Hammers 1st and 10. And met in the backfield. That was Jacob Jones breaking in there and making that tackle in the backfield. No chance there.
Big play. Came in there and made a good smack on the running back.
And you saw on that play, actually Dugan took the snap. So they brought him into the game, and he handed off to Micah Franklin. So might see some misdirection that way for Greenback, but now Franklin's back in there. And he will hand off to Fields. Fields is tackled.
Brandon Nation, great play by the linebacker. He read it the whole way. Senior, 5'9", 188. He came down and laid the wood to the Greenback running back.
And the Oliver Springs defense has to be pumped up about this. Let's look at the Chuck Fleischman replay. Fields just nowhere to go, and that is a hat to a hat. That is a straight pancake tackle. So here's Franklin at quarterback. He's going to have to drop back to pass and sets up the screenplay to Fields. And Fields has some running room around the right side, but he stopped short of midfield, and so Greenback will be a couple yards shy of the first down.
Great open field running there. He's definitely got that field vision that we talk about. As you've seen, turn on the speed here as Brandon Nation for Oliver Springs comes close. He jukes him out and takes off around the edge. You might have missed a little holding call there on number 4 of Oliver Springs with 51. But great run, great pickup.
And Brandon Nation flew to the football, just missed it a little bit, missed his angle. And Greenback is going to go for it here. No punting for them unless there's a hard count. There's not. Franklin takes it. It's going to keep it, and he's stopped. This will be Oliver Springs football. The Bobcats will be set up at midfield with a Hammers 1st and 10.
Big play. Way to make a defensive stand with the big guys up front. A lot of movement. That was a great overall defensive series for the Oliver Springs Bobcats. As you see on the replay here, they won the battle in the trenches and got upfield, and there was nowhere to go.
Great field position to start this drive for Oliver Springs, who went 3 and out just a moment ago.
But it is going to be hard to move the ball on this Greenback defense.
Zach Elliott sends a man in motion. Ooh. And Elliott keeps it going around the left side, but there's going to be a flag on the play because 2 men were in motion at the same time on that play. A little confusion.
Yeah, if you're Oliver Springs, you cannot beat yourself. You have to limit your mistakes. Take advantage of the Greenback mistakes.
And there it is. That's a 5-yard penalty. We'll back the Bobcats back into their own territory. Ball spotted at the 45, and we will replay a Hammers 1st down. Now, I don't know if they can keep the energy up, but right now Oliver Springs looks like they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. They've got a little extra something right now. Man in motion again, this time Bridges. And you got another flag on the play.
Yeah, you can't have it. Your emotions are running strong right now after that really good defensive series. And you're making too many mistakes. You can't shoot yourself in the feet and beat a good team.
Yeah, you lose 10 yards before you even take your first offensive snap of the possession.
You got to look at your quarterback to really have some composure and get your guys calmed down. Look them in the face. Tell them it's going to be all right.
Yeah, on this Hammers 1st and 20, Coach Larry Green wants to beat himself over the head with a hammer.
You ain't kidding. 1st and forever. And those defensive backs for Greenback are licking their chops right now because they're going to be anticipating some kind of run play.
And we got another stop and play. And it's a timeout, Bobcats. So after 2 penalties in which the Bobcats lost 10 yards, Coach Larry Green wants to take a timeout. Although they're going to talk about this for a second because I think the Oliver Springs coaches were concerned that maybe the play clock didn't reset. So you see Coach Larry Green out there on the field. I don't think he wanted to take a timeout there, but he wanted to avoid a delay of game penalty. Okay, so Oliver Springs is going to get the timeout. 4:55 left to play in the first quarter. Our score is tied at 0.
Football is back. And OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
Your OEB Law game of the week, 4:55 left to go in the first quarter. Speaking of OEB Law, we've got with us Sarah Boer. Yep. Sarah Boer.
Absolutely.
Of OEB Law, here representing the great East Tennessee law firm that does nationwide cases. How much fun are you having here tonight playing the role of Tim Elrod?
I'm having a great time, and thanks for having me. We're having the best time so far. It's a good game. It's a beautiful night. You can't ask for much more.
Yeah, a hard-hitting football game, and we've got another flag on the play. You see, when Tim comes and does an interview with us, one of the teams score. When you come and do an interview with us, we just get a bunch of penalties. So, and like, that's not your fault. You can't help it. But I just want to let you know that that's the situation. As Oliver Springs is backed up 5 more yards from a false start penalty, it will now be another Hammers 1st and 25, and Coach Larry Green wants to know where that hammer is. By the way, if someone is injured by a hammer, can OEB Law help them?
Well, probably so. If it was negligence, then we're here to help.
All right. So Oliver Springs picks up 4, but they'll need a lot more than that. It'll be 2nd and 21. So how long have you been with OEB?
I started with OEB in August of 2015, so I've been there just over 5 years now.
Just over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what has been your experience there?
It's awesome. I couldn't ask for a better firm. I think it was probably just a match made in heaven that I did not anticipate at all. I can't think of a firm in Knoxville that is more community-minded and more oriented towards the individuals that we're representing than any other firm in the county.
Lawyers get a really bad rap, but really you help a lot of people. Has there been like a special situation that has made you jump in and say, man, I really love my job, like made somebody smile?
Well, I don't know if you mean professionally or personally, but I know one thing I love about our firm is I can go to Tim and I can ask him for money for anything in the community, and I don't think he's ever turned me down, any clients down, or any general people in the community that just need some kind of assistance, whether it's sponsorships or trying to get through a legal issue.
And that's another really important thing that OEB Law does. They're helping us bring this broadcast on the air by being a title sponsor for us, but also any event that comes in town, you're probably going to see OEB Law as a part of it and trying to give money to it so that people can take in quality entertainment. And breaking free for Oliver Springs, getting up the field but not making the original line of scrimmage is Brandon Nation. Nation made his first man miss in the backfield on that screenplay and picked up some pretty good yardage, but not going to be enough, so Oliver Springs is going to have to send in the punt unit. And come to this game, Rivalry Thursday, which was last night. You got a $1,000 check with you, and you're going to give that to a school, and that's every single week of the regular season.
Hey, we love to spend money.
For good things.
Yep, and I'm here to help him spend his money, so it's not even mine, so y'all can have all you want.
Well, I'm sure Oliver Springs is going to appreciate that $1,000 that they're going to get, and I know West appreciated getting some money last night as well.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure.
All right. So, Sarah, we want to make sure that we get that H on the end, you said.
Absolutely.
But, see, you pronounce the H in your first name but not the one in your second name. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct.
That's
You're probably the first
it?
person to ever notice that.
That's really interesting. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and let everybody at OEB Law know how much we appreciate them.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. You guys have a great night.
You too. So that's Sarah Boer of OEB Law, and we're so thankful to have them on board with us as Greenback has taken over with the Hammers 1st and 10, and immediately Franklin gets it up to Berger. Now, Austin Berger is a playmaker for this Greenback team, and that's the first time we've been able to say his name as Franklin gets it out to him and Greenback moves the sticks again. Go ahead.
Yeah, you see here on the replay, he is a really good-looking ball player. He really can get up the field and make some plays. I really like some of the stuff that they use him out of.
Congressman Chuck Fleischman liked that play. Here's Franklin, fakes the handoff to Fields, rolls to his left, and a pass is complete. This one goes to Dugan. So the freshman who played quarterback to start the first 3 games is in there playing skill positions this week.
Yeah, and this guy can really fly. He's very athletic. He's got some really good agility. He's only 5'9", 140, but I tell you, he can fly.
So Greenback on the move. This is their second Hammers 1st and 10 on as many plays. Franklin this time will hand off to Fields, and Fields bounces off a couple tacklers, still on his feet but brought down behind the line of scrimmage, and Greenback is having a very difficult time running the football tonight.
They really are, but Oliver Springs' defensive line needs some credit in that. They are really doing a good job of holding their own, and the linebackers for Oliver Springs are really flying. They are sending them on many different blitzes out of many different packages, so keep looking for that.
Speaking of holding, it looked like Sam Lawson of this Greenback line got away with one on that Chuck Fleischman replay. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Ball spotted at the Oliver Springs 48-yard line. Franklin in the backfield with Fields.
Look for a rollout.
Tight set on the left, and it's a quick pitch out to Fields, and Fields is gobbled up and dropped.
I tell you what, Brandon Nation is having a heck of a ball game defensively for Oliver Springs. We've seen him miss 1 tackle so far. This guy is in on every play on the field, and I'm really excited to watch him play.
And Nation, one of the leading tacklers on this Oliver Springs team, and you can see why. He flies to the football.
He really does. He plays downhill. He doesn't lose a lot of ground in his pursuit, so he's a really good-looking little linebacker.
That play resulted in a negative 4-yard gain, so 3rd and 14 now. Franklin steps up in the pocket. There's a flag on the play, lets it go. That pass is off the fingertips of Berger, incomplete. But there is a flag on the right side of the backfield there, maybe 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage as we see it there. And we get the call. All right, so we got an illegal procedure on Greenback.
If you see on the replay, Greenback's trying to identify something in the middle of the field here. The linebackers for Oliver Springs are staying kind of shallow, and if you see there, they've had 2 wide receivers kind of open in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
So the coaches from the press box are seeing something that they like in the defensive backfield.
So that penalty is declined, which will bring up 4th and 14, and Greenback will have to punt.
And let's see if this punt returner catches the ball in the air.
Well, Blake Fields is a very good punter. We saw him in warm-ups, and that is a nice, tight spiral. And it takes a bounce at the 4, bounces at the 1, and almost is kept from going into the end zone. However, it is a touchback, and Oliver Springs will take over at their own 21-yard line, or 20-yard line, rather, as we have just 49.7 seconds left to go in this first quarter. 2 names in Oliver Springs you can trust, Harvey's Furniture and Jameson Bedding. Jameson has been in the bedding business since 1883, and Harvey's Furniture has served this community since 1948. Harvey's Furniture has all sizes of bedding in stock, so be sure to try out that amazing latex foam rubber beds. And when it comes to bedding, you can trust Jameson Bedding and Harvey's Furniture in downtown Oliver Springs. So Hammers 1st and 10, getting the handoff here is Brandon Nation. Man, they are excited.
It's really good football right here tonight. And I tell you, with everything that we talked about in the pregame, Oliver Springs is fired up, and you've seen that tonight. They look way better than they did against Rockwood, and they're fired up. And we said that Greenback would get Oliver Springs' best tonight, and they have so far. This is a good game. This is why I don't like all the talking before games. Let's get out there on the field and let that settle it.
So the play clock is greater than the actual game clock, and Oliver Springs is content to let that run out. So after the first quarter, we have a scoreless game here at DJ Britton Field. Nothing, as Oliver Springs is holding their own against this Greenback Cherokees team. We'll have the second quarter when we get back. This is your OEB Law Game of the Week.
Football is back. And OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
I gotta go shower.
It's laundry night.
Dishwasher needs to run.
And the Hot Water Wars. A Renai tankless water heater gives you an endless supply of hot water for everything you need to do.
Feel the comforts of home with natural gas. Natural gas tankless water heaters cost almost 3 times less to operate annually than the electric models. Make the switch today.
Renai, hot water for all.
Evans Mortuary has been served.
Back at your OEB Law Game of the Week, Oliver Springs with the football at the Bobcat 20-yard line in this gridlock against Greenback. Quick impressions so far, Coach James Gibson, of this one.
Really good football so far tonight. You've had some really good play in the trenches so far and really good linebacker play. Decent tackling so far and a lot of emotion out of both squads. So keep watching because I think we're going to have a good one here.
And the ball is at the 22-yard line. It's 2nd and 8 as Greenback's defense comes onto the field.
And Greenback is just saying, hey, we're going to go man coverage here, best on best.
And another flag. So many penalties tonight for both teams. And then you got another false start against Oliver Springs. We'll back the Bobcats up 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 13.
You've got to get the mental mistakes fixed and in a hurry. I don't care if you have to call a huddle on the sideline and get your whole team in there. These are things that you can't control, so you got to control the controllables.
Is it the press clippings, you think?
Aaron, emotions always ride high, and for high school kids, 16-year-olds, hey, absolutely it can play a factor.
And we've got another flag on the play. This is going to be a delay of game.
You hate to see a timeout here just to, chew on some tails and get some guys, focused in a little bit, but if this continues, you're going to have a major issue.
So we had a 2nd and 8, and now we've got a 2nd and 18.
Clock's running. Got to hustle out.
Should it have started?
Yeah. As soon as he sets the ball, clock is running. So you're down to 5 on the play clock. Took a really long time. Good run. Good block.
That's right. We've got a quarterback keeper up to about the 24-yard line as Elliott has a very nice-looking run. Going to make up a lot of those yards and be about 3 yards shy of the first down.
And he needs to say thank you to Mr. Nation. That's a really good block. Got upfield.
Brandon Nation is very important to this Oliver Springs Bobcat football team. So they didn't give him the spot that I thought they would. So we've got a 3rd and 5 here. Oliver Springs so far has not converted a 3rd down.
Trips to the far side of the field.
Elliott is going to drop back and pass. He's under immense pressure, though, and is sacked. Getting to him and cleaning it up was Isaiah Flowers. And Oliver Springs will have to punt again.
Yeah, you just had some mental mistake there on the front. You had some guys running through that were unblocked, untouched, and you can't win football games like that. So the offensive line's going to have to get together on that sideline and get that fixed in a hurry.
But Oliver Springs is typically a running football team, but in a situation where you put yourself behind the sticks with penalties, you can't. And that punt was almost blocked, but it's a beauty, end over ender, that lands at midfield and takes an Oliver Springs bounce and marked at the 46-yard line. So that's where Greenback will take over.
You'd had a pretty hard time finding two better punters in a single-A football game than what Greenback and Oliver Springs has here tonight. Very talented kickers.
Well, and think about last night, or last week rather, with Oneida playing Greenback, and you've got Colby Morgan back there punting.
Mm-hmm. All-state Colby Morgan, very good football player, and prayers to that family as his brother had a wreck, and they're trying to get back healthy. Pretty sad times for the Morgans.
So it's Dugan pitching this time to Franklin, and Franklin is dropped right behind the line of scrimmage, I'll say. So Greenback rotating those quarterbacks back and forth. And I got to be honest, so far, watching both of them, I don't think they bring a different skill set to the table. Yet. I haven't seen it yet.
Oliver Springs is doing a really good job flowing to the football with the linebackers, and they are sending them left and right. So Greenback hasn't done a very good job of capitalizing on the blitzing linebackers. So look for them to try to do that, and they are trying to do that here in the spread offense.
5-wide set for Franklin. Franklin fakes a quick hitter and instead gets it out to Caden Lawson, the freshman.
Now that's how you take advantage of a team that is blitzing every play.
But there is a flag on the play, and it's around the line of scrimmage. Looks like it came from the near side line judge. I really like that play design, though. We'll talk about that in a second. And you've got an illegal motion on Greenback. That right there is fortunate for Oliver Springs because that was a very nice play for Greenback. So instead of 1st and 10, it's going to be 2nd and 15. So Franklin faked the quick out and instead turned his body quickly, got it out, and hit a quick slant.
Took advantage of the middle of the field because of how much those inside linebackers have been blitzing for Oliver Springs. So it was a perfect play call, probably come from the press box, and they took advantage of it, and it worked for them. So look for them to try to continue that here a little bit. Greenback is built for that. So it's not like Oliver Springs, who is a run-heavy team. Greenback can throw the football around.
Franklin with Fields in the backfield. Takes a snap, 3-step drop, steps up in the pocket, gets it outside for a 3-yard gain, but that's all he is going to get as Tyler Mance was all over that one, and Hunter Adkins.
Really good coverage for Oliver Springs there. All the way across the board, there was no one very open, so that could have been a coverage sack almost, but he did a good job getting rid of the ball and completing it.
Got something out of it anyway.
He did. Stepped up in the pocket, so he's going to be a very good quarterback.
And look at this. And Greenback wants to take a timeout. So the Cherokees are going to talk about, I want to see this funky formation when they come out. It's your OEB Law Game of the Week. We're scoreless.
Evans Mortuary has been serving the needs of families in and around Roane County since 1976. As established members of our hometown community, we understand the security of dealing with people you know you can trust. We build our reputation on this trust. The Evans family appreciates the confidence the community has expressed in us over the years and will constantly strive to earn that favor. Evans Mortuary, 805 North Gateway.
Had was a guard.
Game of the week. We're going to see if Greenback is going to go to this formation again coming out of the timeout. Coach Ryan wasn't happy with something. Maybe something was lined up wrong. I'm not sure, but no, they're going to come out in a traditional set. So maybe we'll see that play later tonight.
Some kind of rollout or something thrown to the outside of the field with a tight bunch here.
And here's Franklin rolling to his right. He will tuck it and keep it, and down at the 50.
He's well short of the first. Let's see what Greenback does here. I guess they're going to elect to kick.
I would too. Both of these teams unable to move the football because mostly penalties. Greenback's had a little bit more offensive success, but I want look at this replay. Brandon Nation flew in late and put his head down.
Yeah,
did make contact, but that's a dangerous play.
Emotions are riding high down there. Like I said in pregame, Greenback is going to get Oliver Springs' best. Now, let's see if he can catch this ball in air.
Bridges is back deep for Oliver Springs. He will not. Lets it hit at the 20, and it will roll to the 12, and that is where Greenback will take over. And I know that just gets under your skin.
Yeah, it does. You know, that's 5 yards there that, you know, you could have saved your offense if we just call a fair catch.
8
good yards. You know, that's a lot if you're an offensive coordinator. So I like seeing them catch that ball.
So Oliver Springs sets up with the Hammers 1st and 10 from the Bobcat 12-yard line.
Now, mind you, Oliver Springs has 8 players over 250 pounds. They're a big squad.
Elliott with a hard count. And now handoff
Good
goes to
vision.
Hill. Hill finding a lot of room upfield, gets it to the 25-yard line, picks up enough for that Hammers 1st and 10, and gets Oliver Springs out of their deep in their own side of the field.
Really good run there. He had some really good field vision, as you see on the replay. Nation coming in with some good blocking. He just making people miss.
And Chuck Fleischman, Congressman, serving our area since 2010, was very happy with that play. Go to checkforcongress.com.
Greenback again in man coverage. I'd love to see a screen play for Oliver Springs.
Same set they had just a moment ago. Same play as well. Hill this time turns it uphill.
Really good tackle there by Brennan Dugan again. I tell you, this guy is a very good athlete. He's making plays on defense, making plays on offense. He is the future of Greenback football. So they're going to have, again, just a powerhouse football program. They got kids coming up 9th, 10th, 11th grade. I guarantee the middle school program over there is just as good, too.
Just a freshman on this team. Pick up a 4, brings up 2nd and 6. Elliott with a quarterback keeper. Nothing there. Brought down by Berger on the play.
Yeah, Greenback is setting man coverage, and they're stacking the box with 8, 9 players just daring Oliver Springs to run some pass plays out of that formation. And Oliver Springs having a hard time adjusting to it.
Austin Berger, number 2 for this Greenback team. I would be remiss if I didn't notice that today is National Cheeseburger Day. That's a true story.
Might have to pick me up a cheeseburger when we leave here.
Might have to. All right, a loss in the play. It's 3rd and 5. Elliott takes the snap, fakes the handoff, counter play. Here's Hill getting uphill quickly. Midfield to the 40, to the 30, and tripped up. And a little bit of extracurriculars, and there's the flag. So Oliver Springs is in business right now.
They mean business. You know, all the pregame talk, all this stuff over the last couple years, they've had enough of it, and they're here to put up a fight. And they're not bowing down to Greenback. They're saying, hey, we think we're just as good as you, and we think our program is on the rise just like yours, and we're here to show you something different, guys.
It was that freshman Dugan making the tackle for Greenback and saving the touchdown. But then a little bit of extracurriculars. So, dead ball, personal foul, Greenback. And Dugan on the sideline. We'll see it here on this Chuck Fleischman replay. There's Dugan making the tackle. Yeah.
It looked worse.
Running into him was unintentional, but then extending his arms, that was completely intentional.
Looked worse live than it did on the replay, but nonetheless penalty.
Hammers 1st and 10, handoff. Across the 10-yard line goes Heilman. Oliver Springs can pick up a first down at the 2-yard line.
Good job by Cameron Moffitt sticking with it. Senior, 6'4", 187 pounds, playing nose guard. So he's definitely light, but he's got some length to him.
That same set, Oliver Springs has had a lot of success out of it. Here's Brandon Nation, cuts it back inside. Dropped at the 7-yard line. So it will be 3rd and 5 for Oliver Springs in obvious 4-down territory.
Yeah, and Greenback is doing a really good job of noticing the formation and that lead blocker, and the linebackers are covering ground quickly. So it's been a pretty good job by Greenback linebackers so far tonight.
Elliott gets the play from the sidelines.
Let's see if Greenback elects to stay in that man coverage down here on the goal line.
Unbalanced line, tight formation to the left. Elliott, handoff going that direction and trying to get in but can't is Gavin Hill, but he might have enough for the first down, depending on where they mark it.
I tell you, Cooper Williams came in with a really good tackle, another freshman, 5'9", 137. You see on the replay coming up and giving a good effort, keep him out of the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
Great tackle.
That is enough for a Hammers 1st and goal. The Bobcats set up at the 2-yard line, looking to strike first with just 4:04 left to go in the half.
Oliver Springs electing to go in a shotgun. 20 personnel on the goal line.
And Greenback sees that and says, let's set something else up on defense. So Greenback takes a timeout. Oliver Springs threatening.
Hi, I'm Ray Varner, and we are East Tennessee's Ford dealership.
We fish and play in these lakes. We explore in these woods. We experience the beauty and the thrill of the ride. And we provide quality pre-owned vehicles that fit your budget. Like a 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk 4x4, 14,000 miles. 2017 Toyota Corolla. 2019 Ford Mustang Convertible EcoBoost Premium. At Ray Varner Ford, we bring family together while providing the attention you deserve, the care you need, and the team you trust.
Back at your OEB Law Game of the Week, we're at DJ Britton Field here at Oliver Springs High School. Bobcats have taken some trash talk. Earlier in the week, Greenback coach Greg Ryan saying that, no, this isn't a rivalry. They've never beat us. We beat them 88-0 last year in 2 games, and Oliver Springs is sick of it. They want to end that tonight. They are threatening to take the lead and score first here in the second quarter of this game. Now, keep in mind, this current Oliver Springs drive started at the Bobcat 12-yard line. They've driven straight down the field. So here's Elliott in the backfield with Nation and Hill. Sends a man in motion, and on the keeper, walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Oliver Springs. That is the first time in this drive that Elliott has kept it. And so you know the Greenback defenders, their eyes were going back and forth.
They really were. They brought the motion across. The linebackers followed the motion, and he just replaced them with a touchdown.
Yeah, look at the Chuck Fleischman replay.
And nobody's there.
And that could have been a late hit.
Yeah, Dugan, he's fired up. He's a good-looking little ball player, but it's sometimes just a little too much right there.
All right, so Heilman's extra point is up. and it's good. Oliver Springs leads over Greenback 7-0. No season-long shutout for this Bobcat team tonight on your OEB Law Game of the Week.
The Harriman Utility Board is committed to providing safe and reliable natural gas service to our customers in Harriman and Roane County through the use of safe operational procedures with trained and knowledgeable personnel. An odorant is added to natural gas and maintained to a certain level so that in the event of a gas leak it can be easily detected. If you smell or suspect a natural gas leak, please call the Harriman Utility Board at 882-3242. We can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Back at your OEB Law Game of the Week, Oliver Springs and its fans are fired up. With under 4 minutes left to go in this first half, the Bobcats have gone up 7-0 on a drive that goes 88 yards and went straight down Greenback's throat as we prepare for the Davis Funeral Home kickoff. Davis Funeral Home with 2 locations in Wartburg and Harriman. And this kick is taken by Greenback at the 15-yard line, and some really good running room there for Franklin. Gets up to, let's try to see where they marked it here. That's going to be around the 40-yard line, so Greenback with very good starting field position.
Yeah, Greenback's had an opportunity on both kickoffs of Oliver Springs to get a good field position, and that's due to a line drive kick. He's kicking the ball low, and the Greenback player is able to field it with no Oliver Springs players around him, which gives him a lot of time to make up ground with a good return.
And you see, yeah, Micah Franklin is the athlete that sophomore transfer from William Blunt in at quarterback. Fields in the backfield with him. Franklin drops back to pass, is under pressure, steps up, and his pass falls incomplete. Trying to hit Lawson there. Although that may have just been a play to try to get rid of the football.
And it was. He got rattled right here. He felt the footsteps coming. Had to get rid of the ball a little bit early.
Oliver Springs has done a really nice job getting into the backfield all night.
They really have, and they've done a good job at that, not letting the wide receivers run open too much and getting some pressure after that quarterback. As long as they can keep doing that, they will have success.
Franklin's going to drop back and sets up a screen to Fields. And Fields, Oliver Springs Fields, and Fields is dropped in the backfield. Nothing there. Played perfectly by the Bobcats.
It really was. Kane Gouge, sophomore, 6'1", 160. He missed the initial tackle, but he never gave up. That's what you call an effort play. You see him come in here, he gets stiff arm. But he sticks with the play, hangs on till the cavalry arrives. Good job.
Great play.
Congressman Chuck
Fleischman was very happy with that play. Loss of 1 brings up a 3rd and 11. Greenback will send 4 wideouts, 2 to either side. And again, Fields in the backfield. Franklin fakes the handoff and now gets it back to Franklin, and that pass is complete. Fields, and he breaks the tackle and brought down after a pickup of 6. It's 4th down.
And guess who? Brandon Nation again. He is flying all over this field, and he's working his way for defensive player of the game.
And Oliver Springs wants to take a timeout, probably to conserve some of the time on this clock. And Bobcats are going to try to put up some more points before halftime. 2 names in Oliver Springs you can trust: Harvey's Furniture and Jameson Bedding. Jameson's been in the bedding business since 1883, and Harvey's Furniture served this community since 1948. Harvey's Furniture has all sizes of bedding in stock, so be sure to try the amazing latex foam rubber beds. When it comes to bedding, you can trust Jameson Bedding and Harvey's Furniture. Downtown Oliver Springs, call 435-7359. 435-7359. That is Harvey's Furniture. Oliver Springs wins the toss. They elect to receive. So Oliver Springs is going to look for a punt here. I would say Coach Greg Ryan is saying we're not giving this ball back to them and might fake a punt here. Remember, your punter is Blake Fields, one of the better athletes that you have on the field. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to fake a punt here.
Yeah, you never know. And when motion's high like this, you want momentum kind of moving forward. So you never know what you could see in a situation like this in high school football.
And Oliver Springs does not have a return man. They're thinking the same thing. But Fields will let this one go, and that's not as good of a punt.
It as good, yeah.
It lands, but it takes a great Greenback bounce and dies at the 20-yard line. So Oliver Springs will have it 80 yards from pay dirt. Coach Larry Green not going to give up a fake punt right there.
No. I don't blame him either.
All right, so Oliver Springs has the Hammers 1st and 10. And keep in mind, if you're just joining us, Oliver Springs' last drive went 88 yards, and Greenback had nothing for them.
Same formation that they ran on the goal line when they came with motion.
Elliott gets the snap, handoff goes to Hill, and Hill again finds running room. And a very nice gain on 1st down. However, you're moving the football, the clock will continue to run. Still a lot of time, but something you'll want to look at a little bit later.
Yeah, those defenders for Greenback are going to be extra slow coming off the tackle, trying to keep him on the ground just a little bit more to run some time off that clock.
Oliver Springs does have 1 timeout remaining. That was a pickup of 6. It will be 2nd and 4 here.
Keep an eye on the motion.
Elliott calls out the play. Takes a snap.
Busted play.
And pitches it out. And, boy, that is a disaster. I believe Oliver Springs was able to recover that fumble, but, man, Elliott was trying to play hero ball there a little bit and pitch it at the last second before going down, and
there was definitely some miscommunication there with the quarterback and the running back. Pretty unfortunate because now you're in a 3rd and long situation with about 1:10 left on the clock.
Yeah, I don't know if you could see it on that Chuck Fleischman replay, but probably 4 seconds before the snap, Nation looked down at his armband, and so I'm wondering if they didn't try to maybe change something at the line.
Same formation again.
Elliott takes the snap, handoff Nation. Nation starts right, cuts it up the middle, and he's stopped after a short pickup of probably 5. Will bring up 4th down, and now Greenback wants to use its final timeout with 41 seconds left to go. So we see this on the Chuck Fleischman replay. No surprise here that Greenback is going to call a timeout. In this situation, do you trust your return guy to be the athlete that he is and maybe set up a block, or do you go for the all-out punt block?
Me, I'm going all-out punt block. I know it's a lower percentage play, but in this situation, high school football, I'm going to go all-out block and have 1 guy deep.
And as well as Oliver Springs punts the football, you're at the 25-yard line, so you have to think if you don't get the block, that ball's probably not going very far past midfield.
And you do have a really good kicker for Oliver Springs, but one thing I've noticed tonight is he does hold the ball for a while. It's a slow-developing punt. So they've had opportunities to get some pressure on that play, even though they haven't had an all-out block on. So your chances are pretty good. All you need is a little bit of a high snap. And a good block here could pick up an easy 6 for you.
And there's the punt. Lands at the 42 and takes an Oliver Springs bounce. And the ball's down at the 33-yard line. That is where Greenback will take over with just 31.9 seconds left. Now, it doesn't look like Greenback's strength is going to be throwing the football. They don't have Braden Carnes back there like they did last year. So,
yeah, there is no Holden Willis on that team right
exactly.
Now this year. Now, there could be a couple guys develop into that. But let's see what they choose to do here. With the emotions of pregame and everything that's been going on to this, do they just hand the ball off or do they try to go for a big play?
2 wideouts either side. And Franklin gets it out after a short pickup. Tyler Mance.
Really good play there, keeping him inbound so the clock continues to run.
And I have a feeling Greenback's going to be satisfied with that, the Cherokees. But they're going to rush up to the line. They're going to run one more play and, try for something. Franklin, a quick out. That pass is incomplete going to Dugan. That will stop the clock with 2.4 seconds left. So we'll get another play. We'll get to see third down here. But, yeah, if you're Oliver Springs, you're backing everybody back.
The quarterback just rushed that play there. With some more experience under his belt, he's going to be a little more comfortable there to hold on to that ball a little bit more, lead your wide receiver a little bit more, and he would have picked up a large gain there if he would not have rushed that.
Not only that, but he doesn't set his feet off it.
Yeah.
So, again, 2 wideouts to either side. Franklin's the quarterback. Drops back to pass. Lets it go. He's hit as it's thrown, and that pass is incomplete, but almost picked off by Brandon Nation, and that is how this half will end. For Oliver Springs to be able to keep this momentum going into the locker room with a lead against Greenback is huge. We've got a great one in your OEB Law Game of the Week. We'll have halftime, hopefully some stats for you when we get back.
Football is back. And OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
I gotta go shower.
It's laundry night.
Dishwasher needs to run.
And the hot water wars. A Renai tankless water heater gives you an endless supply of hot water for everything you need to do.
Feel the comforts of home with natural gas. Natural gas tankless water heaters cost almost 3 times less to operate annually than the electric models. Make the switch today.
Renai, hot water for all.
Evans Mortuary has been serving the needs of families in and around Roane County since 1976. As established members of our hometown community, we understand the security of dealing with people you know you can trust. We build our reputation on this trust. The Evans family appreciates the confidence the community has expressed in us over the years and will constantly strive to earn that favor. Evans Mortuary, 805 North Gateway.
Hi, I'm Ray Varner, and we are East Tennessee's Ford dealership.
We fish and play in these lakes. We explore in these woods. We experience the beauty and the thrill of the ride. And we provide quality pre-owned vehicles that fit your budget. Like a 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk 4x4, 14,000 miles. 2017 Toyota Corolla. 2019 Ford Mustang Convertible EcoBoost Premium. At Ray Varner Ford, we bring family together while providing the attention you deserve, the care you need, and the team you trust.
The Harriman Utility Board is committed to providing safe and reliable natural gas service to our customers in Harriman and Roane County through the use of safe operational procedures with trained and knowledgeable personnel. An odorant is added to natural gas and maintained to a certain level so that in the event of a gas leak it can be easily detected. If you smell or suspect a natural gas leak, please call the Harriman Utility Board at 882-3242. We can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Here is Helen Hammer.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
A lot of years have passed since that TV ad. Hammer stores are still offering up-to-the-minute fashions for men and women, famous label outdoor wear and boots, area rugs, and exciting purchases. All at Hammer's famous low prices.
Race on down!
Planning a funeral can be difficult at best, but it can be a lot easier if you work with people who care. That's Davis Funeral Home in Harriman and Wartburg. Davis Funeral Home gives attention to every detail, ensuring your loved ones will be remembered with honor and integrity. Davis Funeral Home works very hard to give you the most professional service possible. Davis Funeral Homes, Morgan Avenue in Harriman and Old Mill Road in Wartburg. Davis Funeral Homes, people who care.
Springs High School Bobcat Marching Band.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense.
Ask Griffin Insurance Agency in Kingston if auto owners make sense for you.
Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
1952. That's the year Hammers opened the first store in East Tennessee. Now there are 5 stores and there's always something new. Like in Hammers' popular ladies boutique department, you'll find the lowest price possible on new arrivals every week. Find similar deals in the men's department and the expanded rug department. Plus, special purchases always offer surprise savings. You never know what you'll find next at Hammers.
Make this spring all about enjoying the experience. When you ride on your new Ferris commercial mower featuring patented suspension technology, you'll have more than freshly manicured grass. You'll experience productivity and comfort like never before. And because you won't be slowing down for those rough spots, you'll mow more lawn in less time. Ferris, experience suspension.
XL Bowman & Son, 524 North Front Street in Rockwood.
Hi, I'm Ray Varner, and we are East Tennessee's Ford dealership.
We fish and play in these lakes. We explore in these woods. We experience the beauty and the thrill of the ride. And we provide quality pre-owned vehicles that fit your budget. Like a 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk 4x4, 14,000 miles. 2017 Toyota Corolla. 2019 Ford Mustang Convertible EcoBoost Premium. At Ray Varner Ford, we bring family together while providing the attention you deserve, the care you need, and the team you trust.
Football is back. And OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacle blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
I gotta go shower.
It's laundry night.
Dishwasher needs to run.
End the hot water wars. A Renai tankless water heater gives you an endless supply of hot water for everything you need to do.
Feel the comforts of home with natural gas. Natural gas tankless water heaters cost almost 3 times less to operate annually than the electric models. Make the switch today.
Renai, hot water for all.
Evans Mortuary has been serving the needs of families in and around Roane County since 1976. As established members of our hometown community, we understand the security of dealing with people you know you can trust. We build our reputation on this trust. The Evans family appreciates the confidence the community has expressed in us over the years and will constantly strive to earn that favor. Evans Mortuary, 805 North Gateway.
The Harriman Utility Board is committed to providing safe and reliable natural gas service to our customers in Harriman and Roane County through the use of safe operational procedures with trained and knowledgeable personnel. An odorant is added to natural gas and maintained to a certain level so that in the event of a gas leak it can be easily detected. If you smell or suspect a natural gas leak, please call the Harriman Utility Board at 882-3242. We can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Here is Helen Hammer.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
A lot of years have passed since that TV ad. Hammer stores are still offering up-to-the-minute fashions for men and women, famous label outdoor wear and boots, area rugs, and exciting purchases. All at Hammer's famous low prices.
Race on down!
Planning a funeral can be difficult at best, but it can be a lot easier if you work with people who care. That's Davis Funeral Home in Harriman and Wartburg. Davis Funeral Home gives attention to every detail, ensuring your loved ones will be remembered with honor and integrity. Davis Funeral Home works very hard to give you the most professional service possible. Davis Funeral Homes, Morgan Avenue in Harriman and Old Mill Road in Wartburg. Davis Funeral Homes, people who care.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense.
Ask Griffin Insurance Agency in Kingston if auto owners make sense for you.
Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
1952. That's the year Hammers opened the first store in East Tennessee. Now there are 5 stores and there's always something new. Like in Hammers' popular ladies boutique department, you'll find the lowest price possible on new arrivals every week. Find similar deals in the men's department and the expanded rug department. Plus, special purchases always offer surprise savings. You never know what you'll find next at Hammers.
Make this spring all about enjoying the experience. When you ride on your new Ferris commercial mower featuring patented suspension technology, you'll have more than freshly manicured grass. You'll experience productivity and comfort like never before. And because you won't be slowing down for those rough spots, you'll mow more lawn in less time. Ferris, experience suspension.
XL Bowman & Son, I-24 North Front Street in Rockwood.
It's a happy halftime for the Bobcats of Oliver Springs in your OEB Law Game of the Week at DJ Britton Field here in the great land of Oz. Bobcats score with 4 minutes left to go in the first half to take the 7-0 lead over that trash-talking Greenback team, which said this wasn't a rivalry. They've never beaten us. And it's true. Oliver Springs 0-6 the last 3 seasons against Greenback. Really odd that a team would play another team 6 times in 3 years. I don't know what the chances are that a team would meet up in the regular season and the playoffs for 3 straight years, but you see right there on your screen, Oliver Springs 0-4 on the season. Coach Larry Green is 500, 31-31, trying to move above 500 tonight because he's 0-6 as Greenback, and that's all in the last 3 years. Greenback has won all prior 8 meetings. So
yeah, it's been a dominant time for Greenback, but that's as expected. They've been one of the better programs in East Tennessee for several years, and Oliver Springs is trying to build to get something similar to that. So yeah, there has been some discrepancies on the last 6 games, but hey, Oliver Springs is trying to right that wrong here tonight.
Yeah, and look at these first half stats. 3 first downs apiece for these two teams. Rushing yards, Oliver Springs has 53 to Greenback's 8. Passing yards, 53 to 8 the other way, a total of 61 yards, no turnovers. The penalties are the big thing, though. 5 penalties for 25 yards for Oliver Springs, and that got them into holes early in their first 2 or 3 drives, and that was big for them. Finally, they cleaned that up a little bit, able to get upfield and score. Greenback 2 penalties for 15 yards. Look at that time of possession, pretty even.
Yeah, really, it's been a defensive ball game so far tonight, and that tipping your hats to the defensive coordinators for both squads, because the offenses have not been able to get much of anything going. For 61 total yards of offense, I mean, you just multiply that by 2, and you're talking about a 110, 20-yard game. So, yeah, it's been sluggish offensively tonight. So, let's see if they've made some halftime adjustments, come out and get the ball moving a little bit.
And, again, coming into this game, we didn't know what to expect out of either of these teams. Greenback has played Loudon, which is putting the whooping on somebody else tonight. They played Meigs County, which is putting the whooping on somebody else tonight. They played Oneida, which is putting the whooping on somebody else tonight. No team that Greenback has played has lost this season.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a tough schedule for Greenback, but nothing like Oliver Springs.
Well,
Oliver
yeah.
Springs' schedule has put Greenbacks to shame, but you're right. Both teams have played a lot of good teams this year, and it's coming to full fruition tonight. So look for Oliver Springs to come out, backfire it up. If they can keep that momentum moving into this second half, we're going to have a good ball game.
You know, something that I didn't bring up, I didn't want to talk about it because we didn't have any preseason scrimmages, and everybody coming out in week 1 was probably flying by the seat of their pants. But this Oliver Springs team played that same Oneida team that beat Greenback last week 21-7. The final score in week 1 for Oliver Springs was 14-6. So if you look at and take it by final score, then Oliver Springs played Oneida tougher than Greenback did. But again, that was in week 1, coming into a season where you have no off season or preseason to get prepared for what is yet to come. So, you know, I didn't want to really put a lot of stock into that, but seeing these two teams play tonight, it probably is something you should have put a little bit of stock in.
It really is, and it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't something that I put a lot of stock in either because of the lack of preseason, lack of live repetition, scrimmages, and so on and so forth. So you didn't see the best of both teams at week 1. They look pretty even across the board tonight. Size is pretty even across the board. Speed, I'll tip the hat with speed with Greenback a little bit, but so far Oliver Springs has played some pretty sound football defensively. If they can keep that up, it's going to be a close game.
A couple observations that I've made. Greenback is changing everything up this year, losing Braden Carnes at quarterback and Holden Willis at wide receiver. You don't have those weapons on offense, and it's really showing tonight for Greenback. They don't look like they have an all-star that can carry the load for them this year. It looks like they've got really good pieces, and they're trying to spread it out and get all these pieces involved as opposed to years past, and it's a big difference.
Big adjustments you've got to make. But you see there on the screen, Oliver Springs is getting in that huddle, getting fired up, getting those emotions coming out again. I'm guaranteeing you he's telling those guys, hey, they said they was going to beat us by 40 again tonight. Let's get back out here and prove our worthiness.
Now, another thing to note is that Greenback prides itself on its football program. As you hear this Oliver Springs crowd get loud here for this team, and they should be really excited right now. Greenback, though, does not like playing a lot of players both ways, which is not common in single A, and so they might be able to wear teams out in the second half. Not saying it's going to happen tonight against Oliver Springs. I'm saying keep an eye out because it's a possibility that Greenback will look more fresh in the later stages of this game.
Well, let's just be honest. This Greenback coaching staff has coached a lot more football games than this Oliver Springs coaching staff together. You got to think, Greenback every year is going deep into the playoffs, if not to a state championship. Every year, that's 3, 4, 5 games more you're playing a year. So big difference.
So here is our Davis Funeral Home kickoff, and it goes straight out of bounds. Davis Funeral Homes with 2 locations in Harriman and Wartburg. Looked like Oliver Springs was kicking it into one of those locations that time. Ball goes out of bounds at the 26-yard line, and that's an illegal procedure penalty. So Greenback can force Oliver Springs to re-kick, or they can take the penalty and the football. And it looks like Greenback will have Oliver Springs re-kick. So we'll back it up to the 35-yard line as opposed to the 40. And Ty Lamance is going to get another shot at this one. Again, Davis Funeral Homes. You can go to davisfuneralhomes.com for more information. But those 2 locations in Harriman and Wartburg, call 882-2000 or 346-2011. And Lamance's kick again is on the sidelines, but it's fielded cleanly by Franklin, and Franklin puts his head down, rumbles ahead to the 43-yard line, and Greenback has great field position to start the second half.
Let's see what kind of defensive adjustments Oliver Springs has made. And I guarantee you the coaching staff of Greenback has made some adjustments offensively at halftime with their squad. Now, they're kind of limited. Their quarterback isn't very experienced. He's not a guy that's going to sit back there and throw 30 completions for you right now in his career. But he is a guy that can beat you with his feet. So let's see what happens.
Franklin, 3-step drop, finds Berger. Berger makes the first guy miss and picks up enough for the Hammers 1st and 10 up to the 45-yard line of Oliver Springs.
Austin Berger is a really good wide receiver for him. He's 6'1", 179. He's got a real good length to him, as you see there with a little stiff arm on the defender there, picked up an extra couple yards.
And missing that tackle on the coverage was Kane Googe. Was in the right position to make the play, just didn't follow through. So Hammers 1st and 10 for Greenback in Oliver Springs territory. Quick pitch out to Blake Fields. Fields taken down at midfield. And again for Oliver Springs, that's Jacob Jones.
I tell you, Sam Lawson, number 51 for Greenback, had a really good block there, if you'll see there on the Chuck Flashman replay. Very good looking block.
Didn't help out any.
Yeah, it takes 11 men doing their job, or you will have a negative play.
Loss of 4 brings up 2nd and 14.
Same formation, 10 personnel.
And jumping off sides for Greenback is Braden Matoy. So you already had 2nd and 14. Now you've got 2nd and 19. And again, penalties play a big part in this game.
It's not the way you want to see a team come out right out of half after spending all that time on the chalkboard in the locker room, going over new play sets and adjustments. So that's not a good start for Greenback. Oliver Springs licking their chops right now.
Same formation again. Franklin with Fields in the backfield. Franklin drops back to pass. Fires it. It's intercepted.
Fumble.
And there's a fumble on the play.
Greenback recovers.
And Greenback, if Greenback did recover this football, that is huge. Because Greenback was in a 2nd and 19 hole.
Maintain possession, Oliver Springs. Big play.
Okay. Okay, wow. So Oliver Springs makes a huge play. Now, look on the Chuck Flashman replay. This pass was just badly thrown, or it looked like maybe Franklin was trying to throw Berger open and didn't see the defender there. Ooh. But then the fumble, and then
the fight's on right here. The scramble is on for the ball, and it looks like the big guy, Oliver Springs, pulled it out of there.
Matthew Johnson recovering that fumble, big fumble recovery, and on the first play, it's Hill on the Hammers 1st and 10, maybe gets to the line of scrimmage, but I think he lost a yard to bring up 2nd and 11. So with that fumble, had Greenback recovered that, then it would have gone from a 2nd and 19 to a 1st and 10,
yeah.
And you would have got a fresh set of downs after being in that hole. So 2nd and 11.
Yeah, and Brad Jones just made a good comment there. He's saying that Oliver Springs needs to run that football. They've had a lot of success early on with this, and see them run that football.
That is a stacked line, man in motion for Oliver Springs. Handoff goes to Nation. Nation tries to get upfield, picks up about 4 before he's brought down. It will be 3rd and long. I think Greenback's selling out for that run.
Well, Oliver Springs isn't doing anything fancy. They're not trying to, trick anybody or do anything too crazy for turnover purposes. So they're keeping it simple and sweet. So let's see what they do here on a 3rd down. I've been seeing a lot of man coverage out of Greenback. I'd like to see a screen pass at Oliver Springs. I wouldn't mind seeing how Greenback defends the screen as well.
And we've got an option play. Big yardage for Hill. Leaps over somebody and goes out of bounds. Gavin Hill is having a night.
He is. He's a heck of an athlete. 5'11", 153 pounds. And he just showed he's got some jump in him there.
Wow, and this Chuck Fleischman replay.
Good option play. You get the defensive end biting on it. Nobody out there because of man coverage. Good job hurdling the defender.
Great play. Sets Oliver Springs up at the 20-yard line with the Hammers 1st and 10. And same formation again. And Nation gets the handoff. Good pickup of about 4 yards.
And I tell you, Oliver Springs is bigger up front than Greenback, which is kind of rare for Greenback. But still, yeah, even though they're bigger, they're not getting a huge push with that Greenback defensive line. They are kind of maintaining ground, which is difficult to run in if you're trying to establish the running game.
They give Nation 5.
He's a hard runner, Aaron.
2nd 5. Yeah, he's built like a brick house. Same formation again. This time it's Hill. Hill bounces it to the outside, now cuts it back in, and still on his feet.
Refusing to go down.
Gets down to the 6-yard line, almost to the 5. It's 1st and goal. Brought to you by Hammers for Oliver Springs. Look at his run.
Just making people miss. Hold that ball high and tight, young man. There's 2 missed tackles, 3 missed tackles, 4 missed tackles. Finally, 51 coming in with a good secure tackle. Just too much reaching, too much arm tackling.
Oliver Springs is 5 yards away from 6 points. And now they're going to change the formation up. 2 wideouts either side. Man in the backfield is Nation.
Big Tyler Man split outside there for blocking purposes, I'm sure.
And a fake of the jet sweep. Quarterback keeper.
Touchdown.
Does he get in? Yeah. Touchdown, Oliver Springs. Zach Elliott gets his 2nd touchdown of the game on a quarterback keeper. And Oliver Springs is playing with a little swagger right now.
They are up 13-0 here with the extra point. They're feeling pretty good about themselves and all that pre-game word going on back and forth.
Great
Simple
run.
play.
Just keeps his feet moving.
Just making something happen. There wasn't nothing in his hole. Bounced it back inside.
Jacob Heilman to attempt the extra point. It's up. It's through the uprights. It's true. 14-0 Bobcats over this Greenback team. There's a lot of energy in this building in your OEB Law Game of the Week.
Football is back. And OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
Getting set for the Davis Funeral Home kickoff is Oliver Springs, now leading this game by 2 scores with 7:26 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Your score is 14-0. Bobcats over the Cherokees of Greenback. And
good kick.
And it's taken at the 35. And quickly getting up field before being speared down is Caden Lawson. Boy, this Oliver Springs team is fired up.
Oh, you ain't kidding. Jacob Hillman coming in big on a big tackle, 5'10", 172-pound junior. They're fired up down there, and they're playing big man football.
Again, though, good field position for Greenback. So the Cherokees will look to capitalize here at the Greenback 46-yard line. And Hammers 1st and 10, and we've got to stop and play. Coach Larry Green wants to talk to his team before they get to run this first down, so they'll talk about it. 14-0, 7:19 left to go in the third quarter.
I gotta go shower.
Laundry night.
Dishwasher needs to run.
And the hot water wars. A Renai tankless water heater gives you an endless supply of hot water for everything you need to do.
Feel the comforts of home with natural gas. Natural gas tankless water heaters cost almost 3 times less to operate annually than the electric models. Make the switch today.
Renai, hot water for all.
Out of the timeout at DJ Britton Field. Oliver Springs with a home game tonight. And they're feeling pretty good about where they are in this game right now. Still a lot of time left, though. Oliver Springs playing with a lot of momentum. They'll have to keep that going because we are still early in the third quarter. Greenback has the football at the Cherokee 41 with the Hammers 1st and 10. Coach James Gibson, what about what you're seeing right here?
I'm seeing a lot of motion out of this Oliver Springs bunch. The stadium's in it. Everybody along the fence line is into it. Greenback is a little bit frustrated right now. Can't get a lot of success moving the ball offensively.
Micah Franklin at quarterback fakes the handoff to Fields, takes off to the left, finds some running room upfield and brought down at the Oliver Springs 46, and he has enough for a Hammers 1st and 10.
Really good pickup that time by the quarterback. He's got some feet on him. He can make some people miss. Good blocking, pulled the guard, pulled the tackle. Still didn't get outside where they were supposed to be, but just a really good run by the quarterback.
Finally bringing him down on the play is Kane Googe.
We'll see those pullers for the Greenback team really pick up the speed to get out there and be the lead blocker. Your quarterback outran the protection.
So Hammers 1st and 10. Greenback sends 2 wideouts to the left side, sends one of them in motion and hands it off. And
ball's down.
Goes for nothing.
Maybe that's my eyes playing tricks on me. I thought the ball was out.
That went to Dugan, and technically that counts as a complete pass, correct? Just puts it right in front of him.
Ooh, good tackle there.
That's a vicious tackle. Clean, vicious tackle.
Hunter Adkins, 5'9", 180.
No gain, brings up 2nd and 10. Greenback comes back to the line, 2 wideouts to either side. And again, Fields in the backfield. A quick out. Goes to Dugan. Dugan tries to make someone miss, does not. Pick up of 1, 3rd and long. And again, Oliver Springs is pumped up.
Oliver Springs just isn't giving anything deep to Greenback. They're making them throw short and just rallying to the ball, making good tackle. Pretty good sound strategy for Oliver Springs so far defensively, keeping everything in front of you.
If I'm Dugan right there, staring down 4 or 5 Bobcat defenders with no blockers, I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm not really liking my chances there.
Yeah, they're definitely drooling for that. Tight formation again, look for rollout or something off tackle.
And instead, Coach Larry Green has scouted this. He knows what's coming. He's going to call a timeout and tell his team about it. 5:16 left to go in the third quarter. And while we have an opportunity, we want to say a very happy birthday. One of our sponsors, Nikki Adkisson at ORUD. That's Oak Ridge Utility District. So happy birthday to you, Nikki Adkisson, and hope that you're having a good one. Also, let you know while we are in Oliver Springs that you can trust the names Harvey's Furniture and Jameson Bedding. Harvey's Furniture, of course, in Oliver Springs, and Jameson's been in the bedding business since 1883. Harvey's has been a fixture here in the community since 1948. Harvey's Furniture, they've got all sizes of bedding in stock, so be sure to try the amazing latex foam rubber beds. When it comes to bedding, you can trust Jameson Bedding and Harvey's Furniture, downtown Oliver Springs, 865-435-7359. That is Harvey's Furniture. No relation to me. Unfortunately, I don't get in on that trusted family name. So, yeah, Coach Larry Green saw that tight formation and knew something was coming, but unfortunately for him, he had to use his second timeout of this half.
He did, and Greenback coming out in the exact same formation, probably a different play. Roll out.
Yep, Franklin rolls to his left. He had a man upfield, but didn't throw it to him. Instead, throws it short to Cooper Williams, and he is stopped after a pickup of 4 or 5. It's 4th down. Now, Greenback had a receiver upfield and elected to throw it short. I don't know that they trust Franklin's arm strength, but I believe it was Berger he had on a deep post. But here's Greenback going for it. 2 wideouts either side. Franklin takes a snap, quick out, and that pass is complete. And the ball's on the ground, and Oliver Springs has got it. And that was right at the line to gain. If Caden Lawson is able to hold on to that football, I believe he's got a first down. As it stands, Oliver Springs has its second turnover of the second half.
Yeah, watch here on the replay.
Oh, he
Braden Matoy again. We've called his name several times tonight. 5'10", 220-pound linebacker. He's the real deal now. He is a good-looking football player, and he is one of the better linebackers probably in this region.
about to heel his head off right there.
He did, but still, big pickup here. Oliver Springs not changing anything special. They're just doing what they do.
2nd and 1 for the Bobcats. Elliott, quarterback keeper, gets to the 45, which is the line of scrimmage, so he's still a yard shy of the first down. It will be 3rd and 1.
With what we've seen earlier, I'm trying to do a hard count here. Greenback is kind of discombobulated a little bit. Come up there with a good hard count, and you probably won't get him jumping off sides here.
Clock still running, 3:10 left to go in this 3rd quarter.
Now remember, Oliver Springs is a bigger up front team than Greenback, as long as they stay low, pad level. There's your hard count.
Greenback doesn't jump, so handoff goes to Hill. Hill
Good run.
Lowers his head and marches forward, gets to about midfield. That's enough for a Hammers 1st and 10. Hill knew he only needed 1 yard, so he hit that hole fast.
He did, and low.
Needed 1, picked up about 6. And Oliver Springs keeps the drive alive.
It's really frustrating as a defensive coordinator. Oliver Springs still continuing to stack that box.
And Elliott in no hurry. Ooh. Takes a snap, handoff Nation. Nation tries to get the corner. Now he cuts up field and is brought down after a pickup of 7. It looked like Nation was trying to get the edge, but when the edge got set, man, he planted that foot and got up fast.
He did, and picked up some tough yards there. He's a very talented running back and defender, as we've called him several times tonight.
So a pickup of 6. So Elliott in that same formation. Handoff again goes to Hill. Hill tries to find the corner. He does, to the 35, to the 30, knocked out of bounds around the 20. And it's another Hammers 1st and 10. That's about a 24-yard gain.
Greenback is going to remember Gavin Hill's name after this ball game. I guarantee you that.
It's a really impressive showing by this Bobcat team. This composure right now is so impressive. Elliott, low snap, has to pick it up and is brought down almost immediately. And that's Cade Lawson.
Another talented freshman for Greenback. Again, you touched on this in the pregame that Greenback is a young team overall. So they're having to replace a lot of big-time football players in Holden Willis, a quarterback, and a big transfer offensive lineman that has 2 Division I offers. So they're having to rebuild a little bit, and this is unfamiliar territory a little bit for some of these players.
A loss of 4 on the play. This is 2nd and 14. Elliott sends a man in motion. And on the jet sweep, getting across the 20 down to about the 17-yard line. And that time it's Tyler Bridges.
See some laundry on the field there.
And that's in the Oliver Springs backfield, it looks like. And that's a hold. That will back Oliver Springs up 10 yards. They've got to make the 9. Ball is spotted at the 34. Ouch. So that's 25 yards. 2nd and 25. Clock winding down. We're under, had to wait to say it, 10 now. Elliott looks at the play clock, has to keep it, and he is stopped in the backfield. Austin Berger snuffed that one out. That's the final play of the 3rd quarter. A loss of 2 on the play, or maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. We'll check that when we get back. Oliver Springs deep in 3rd down, but with the football and the 14-0 lead at the end of 3.
Hi, I'm Ray Varner, and we've got the vehicles you need to make the most of this season.
Whether you're exploring the great outdoors or cheering on your favorite team, let's take your fall to the next level. In a 2017 F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4, $38,990. 2020 Ford Escape Titanium All-Wheel Drive, $29,990. 2017 Subaru Outback Limited, $23,899. At Ray Varner Ford in Clinton, we are your East Tennessee Ford dealership. Come and see us today. Shop RayVarnerFord.com.
I am a Simplicity dealer. This business is my life, my career. If you need a new mower, I'll help you choose the model that will make your property look its very best, and even let you take a test drive. When it does need service, you can rely on my factory service training and genuine parts. Because I don't just sell products, I build relationships. I am a Simplicity dealer.
S.L. Bowman & Sons, 524 North Front Street in Rockwood.
And back at DJ Britton Field at Oliver Springs High School, the Bobcats have the football in Greenback territory, but they've got a huge hill to climb as it is 3rd down and a whole bunch. We'll call it 3rd and 25 as we begin the 4th quarter. Elliott sends a man in motion. Now we'll drop back to pass. Lets it fly upfield. He's got a man there. That pass is
He pulled it in.
caught. Touchdown, Oliver Springs.
Major play in a big way. Coming in big is Tyler Mance, tight end. Junior, 6'3", 235, just wanted it more.
So Oliver Springs has not really thrown a lot. They have gotten all of their yards on the ground and kind of, I guess, lulled Greenback to sleep and went for it all there.
They've had it
Pass,
all
lets
night.
it fly upfield.
He's got it, man. He's just streaking down the middle of the field and
just waiting for the right time.
Just waiting for the right time. They've been Greenback stacked that line of scrimmage all night.
And this extra point from Heilman is true.
Just like that.
And Oliver Springs is now up 21-0.
Well, I guarantee you this is having a major effect on this coaching staff across the field here. 21-0. No one expected this, especially if you're a Greenback fan watching this right now. I know you're probably sick to your stomach. But, hey, it happens to everybody. This is a weird year, 2020. And we just know that, all the talking back and forth, that played a major factor in this showing so far here tonight. So maybe we'll take a note of that.
I want to thank all of our sponsors tonight. Of course, OEB Law, Hammers, Davis Funeral Home, and Congressman Chuck Fleischman, but also Harriman Utility Board, Oak Ridge Utility District, Evans Mortuary, S.L. Bowman & Sons, Griffith Insurance, Ray Varner Ford, and, of course, the home team, as far as our sponsors go, Harvey's Furniture. An Oliver Springs mainstay since 1948 as we get prepared for our Davis Funeral Home kickoff with 2 locations in Harriman and Wartburg. And that kick is spinning straight out of bounds. So, again, a legal procedure. So Oliver Springs is trying to keep it out of somebody's hands.
Score update looks like Oneida has pulled away with a win, 39-0 over Cumberland Gap.
All right, so Oneida getting a region win there. So Tyler Mance will have to re-kick this one after being backed up 5 yards. Back deep for this Greenback team is Blake Fields, which we haven't really heard a lot from tonight.
No, Oliver Springs is kicking away from them, and it's a pretty good game plan so far.
And this is a Swibber touched at the 50, and great play that time by Greenback's Cash Heron to dive at that one because that ball touched a Greenback receiver and was live.
Very close play there. Could have been pretty disastrous. Good strategy so far by Oliver Springs with the kickoffs. They do not want to kick it deep to the playmakers of Greenback, and it's worked out in their favor, even though that Greenback has had some pretty good field position because of it.
And we got a new man in the backfield, Kaysen Workman. We haven't seen him yet, but he lines up at running back. And here's Micah Franklin, finds Berger all the way up to the Oliver Springs 44-yard line before he's run out of bounds. A pickup of 13 will be enough for a Hammers 1st and 10.
Easy toss and catch. You can see the timing isn't quite there.
Replays again brought to you by Congressman Chuck Fleischman, serving Anderson, Rowan, and Morgan County since 2010.
Same 10 personnel package.
Here's a snap. And going out wide, and wow, that play took a long time to develop. And that pass out to Dugan.
Kane Gouge in on the tackle again. He came up with a big interception earlier. He read the play. It was a very slow developing play like you stated. He's got to be careful throwing that ball. He's going to get his wide receiver killed.
Yeah, or that pass could have been picked off.
As Kane did prior. So, you got to learn from your mistakes and get that ball out of your hand quicker if you're going to elect to run those routes.
So, 2nd and 10 for Greenback. And Franklin on a quarterback keeper makes a man miss. Gets upfield, gets to the 35-yard line before he's finally brought down. And I think we'll see on this Chuck Fleischman replay that there should have been an offsides penalty there. It's hard to tell there, but the man in the backfield, Workman, took off before the ball was snapped. In any matter, pickup of 9 brings up 3rd and 1. Franklin drops back to pass, pump fakes, looks, can't find anybody, so he's taking off with it around the left side, gets the first down, and will make the 28-yard line before he's gang tackled. Great coverage upfield by Oliver Springs that time.
You see nobody's open.
He wanted to go deep.
Yep. He's lucky he didn't get sacked for a big loss there. He was athletic enough to pick up a small gain. Really good coverage for Oliver Springs all night long so far. And something that's been surprising to me is the lack of blocking from the wide receiver position for Greenback. They run the route and they're not blocking too much, and it's costed Greenback several good runs.
Tight formation here for Franklin. Rolls to his right, has a man there, and can't hit his target. And again, Franklin has not been setting his feet to make that throw, and that's a difficult throw to make moving to his right.
It really is, and they're trying to make it simpler for him by running him outside of the pocket to get some easy completions, but you see him there, he picked that foot up. So he's got some work to do, but he's a very talented young man who can develop into a very special quarterback.
Trying to hit Dugan, the freshman who started the previous 3 games for Greenback at quarterback. And now an empty set as Workman goes out wide. Franklin will stop because of a flag. And that's a false start penalty. That'll back Greenback up 5 yards and make it a 2nd and 15. Oliver Springs looks to me like they're trying to keep everything in front of them. And
they are. They're not doing anything too special, Aaron. They're just playing simple football, simple coverage football, and it's worked out in their favor. They're really taking advantage of this young quarterback for Greenback not being able to stick in the pocket and step up in the pocket and throw a lot of deep balls down the field.
Again, a 5-wide set for Micah Franklin. Takes a snap.
Screen.
And does set up the screen. And that goes to Berger. Berger lowers his head and gets down close to the first down marker. It's going to be close. Yeah, I believe they're going to bring the chains in to measure this one. He's really close. But, yeah, that middle screen was set up perfectly. I believe right there. Oh, man.
It's close.
It is very, very close.
Let's just see how close that's going to be. You might see a white hat pull out a piece of paper. Whew, look at that.
Golly.
He's got it, right?
Yeah, looks like just by the tip of that football.
Got a good view thanks to our awesome cameraman up there.
So a Hammers 1st and 10, ball spotted at the 18 of Oliver Springs. 9:22 left to go in this football game. Greenback with the football. Franklin has Workman in the backfield again. Fields is lined up out wide, and
Woo!
Workman is putting in some work, man.
Buddy, I tell you what now, that he lowered that head, and he didn't hit just anybody. That was Mr. Nation that he just met in that hole, and he won that battle.
And Nation's shaky.
I tell you what, that was an awesome run by that running back there.
And we just saw him at running back in this fourth quarter.
Watch the Nation step up here, meet him in the hole. Oof, that's a heck of a run. You will see that on his highlights, I guarantee you that.
So Blake Fields has been lining up out there. Now he's out wide, and Fields is tall. He's 6'4", and they're going to go to him right here. Fields catches it, and he's walloped and brought down at the 11-yard line.
Zach Elliott coming in hot. The junior 5'10", 175 coming in laying the wood there. Really good catch by Greenback. Simple. Turn and catch it and get upfield.
I expect they're going to try to find him in a toss-up in the corner of the end zone here in a couple plays.
If you trust your quarterback enough to get a 50-50 ball, that's who I would be targeting right there. I've seen the quarterback have a hard time to get a lot of air underneath his ball, but I tell you, that's where I'd be trying to go.
3rd and 3. Greenback's got to make the 8. Setting up a screen again. This goes to Berger. Berger crosses the 10, down to about the 7. He's going to have the first down.
Good job tripping him up by the Oliver Springs player. Looked like Dakota Atkins, the freshman, 5'6", 133 defensive back coming in big on the play.
Oh, man, look at all that field in front of him. But Oliver Springs did a great job closing down quickly. So Greenback is 7 yards away from its first score of the night. And Franklin's going 5 wide.
Watch out for QB draw.
Instead, wow.
Great coverage. Gavin Hill, the senior, coming up big down here on the goal line.
Cooper Williams made that catch, but was met immediately by Williams and dropped.
Really good coverage there. Quarterback staring down his target.
And there's a loss of 1 on the play. Ball spotted now at the 8, 2nd and goal.
Trips to the far side of the field. There's the QB draw.
Yeah, and Franklin heading to the end zone. He's in. Touchdown, Greenback.
Really good run by the Greenback quarterback. He's got some feet on him. Picked up enough to get a good touchdown.
Well, to be fair, they all have feet. It's kind of hard to play football.
Not that good of feet.
Football.
He's got the hips to make the moves to bounce into that end zone.
You saw it, though. As soon as they went 5 wide, that's a classic play. Go to let your athletic quarterback. And the hold is shaky, but it's up and good. Greenback scores, cuts the lead from Oliver Springs to 21-7 with 6:49 left to play in the fourth quarter.
Evans Mortuary has been serving the needs of families in and around Roane County since 1976. As established members of our hometown community, we understand the security of dealing with people you know you can trust. We build our reputation on this trust. The Evans family appreciates the confidence the community has expressed in us over the years and will constantly strive to earn that favor. Evans Mortuary, 805 North Gateway.
Back at Oliver Springs, Greenback finally puts 1 on the board with under 7 left to go in this game. The score is 21-7 as we get set for a Davis Funeral Home kickoff. So now some chess starts getting played. Oliver Springs seems to think that Greenback is not going to kick this one very deep, but they got to be careful here. There's a lot of green right here.
There really is, and they have a pretty good kicker. They are going onside. They did
And
not go 10 yards.
And, yeah, Greenback recovered the onside kick, but it has to travel 10 yards. It did not. Oliver Springs will have the football. You see Workman there. He was just running and was like, oh, well, what's this? Oh,
Well,
yeah, I wasn't supposed to touch that yet, was I?
That's a freshman. That's a freshman mistake. And in college, they'll even go as far to say every freshman you start is a loss for your team. So
wow,
that's just a lack of football knowledge that will come in time.
Well, a program like Greenback, you would think maybe you could liken it to a college program in a way because of the winning tradition they have and the players they are able to get at that program. So Oliver Springs takes over in Greenback territory. Handoff Hill. Looks left, goes right. Brought down at the 40. Quickly, a pickup of 7 will bring up 2nd and 3.
Sure tackle by Sam Lawson, number 51 of Greenback, 6 foot 197. If he would not have tackled him there, he's still running.
And now Oliver Springs is definitely not going to be in any kind of hurry whatsoever.
Greenback coming back with the pressure coming from the outside.
And linebackers threatening to blitz here.
And they do.
They do. And Hill runs right by all of them. Gets to the 37-yard line. And that will be close to a Hammers 1st and 10. Goodness gracious. You're bringing your linebackers straight up the middle, and Hill just ran right by them.
Yeah.
Look on this Chuck Fleischman replay.
You basically have 9 to 10 players in the box, and they still pick up positive yards. And that's just a really good job by the offensive line, getting a hat on a hat, making it difficult for those linebackers of Greenback of free-flowing.
And Hill, to be able to just find that area where he knows he can squeeze through. Elliott, quarterback keeper right up the middle, not a lot there for him, but able to gain positive yards and might have the first down. He's going to be very close.
Landon Clifford, number 23, a 9th grader, coming in making a sure tackle there. Again, another 9th grader.
And again, another timeout for a measurement. This one's going to be really close, but from where I am, I don't want to speculate, but it looks like he's certainly gotten it.
Well, I tell you, this is Oliver Springs football right here. You just keep pounding that football, eating that clock up, and pick you up a first down here and just keep running the football. Run that clock all the way down.
This two-back, yeah, that's not even close. That's definitely a first down. This formation that they came out with before they scored their first touchdown in the second quarter, you got those two backs in the backfield. Greenback has had zero answer for that.
Yeah, they really have. Again, they haven't looked comfortable all night long. The defensive line is getting pushed around a little bit by the Oliver Springs offensive line, which is giving the offensive line Oliver Springs an opportunity to get upfield, to get a hat on those linebackers, and it's creating some scenes for those running backs of Oliver Springs.
Hammers 1st and 10, under 5 to play. Greenback trying to get a stop here to keep this game going. Hill met in the backfield and still falls forward. My goodness.
And they ran the same defensive play, sending the inside linebackers, looked like in the A gap, and Landon Clifford, number 23, a 9th grader, broke through that A gap, and he met a big Gavin Hill there who wanted that ball moving forward. So freshman met a senior, and senior won the battle.
Clock just continues to run. Oliver Springs is just chewing every little bit of this out.
Yeah, you're desperation mode if you're Greenback here. You got to have a stop immediately. I want to see those defenders for Greenback swiping at the ball every opportunity they get.
Elliott keeps. Finds a hole on the right side. Gets down to about the 27. And he won't have the first down, but he's only a couple yards shy of it. And so Greenback is going to stop this clock with a timeout as the Cherokees are running out of time in this game.
The Harriman Utility Board is committed to providing safe and reliable natural gas service to our customers in Harriman and Roane County through the use of safe operational procedures with trained and knowledgeable personnel. An odorant is added to natural gas and maintained to a certain level so that in the event of a gas leak it can be easily detected. If you smell or suspect a natural gas leak, please call the Harriman Utility Board at 882-3242. We can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Back at Oliver Springs, to me, this has been a shocking game to watch. To see Oliver Springs really dominate it. To you, would you describe it the same way?
I wouldn't say dominate, but definitely controlled the game so far. And that's a big testament to the offensive line of Oliver Springs.
And it goes back to this again in the Daily Times, Coach Greg Ryan of Greenback saying it can't be a rivalry until they beat us. We beat them 88-0 last year in both games combined. We will continue to beat Oliver Springs like we're accustomed to, is what he said. It's not looking like that right now. 3rd and 3, Elliott. And flags flying everywhere. A lot of movement there. And it will be a false start on Oliver Springs.
That's a big penalty there for Oliver Springs. So, you know, if you're Greenback's defensive coordinator, you are praying for a stop here. And I tell you, I would not send the house like they have been doing. I'm going to sit back in some basic defense and let my players run to the football.
That was really, really close.
It really was.
I think Elliott was going for a hard count there. I don't know, but any means, 3rd and a long 7. Elliott takes a snap, handoff Hill. Moving to his left, look at all that open field. And he makes Berger miss. Does he get to the line to gain? He does. Hammers 1st and 10. Gavin Hill is playing like a star tonight.
He is. He has took control of this game, and it's his whips. He has got enough speed to break it around that corner. Great blocking by number 35 of Oliver Springs, big number Tyler Mance, the guy who caught the big touchdown earlier. But he's who made that play. He sealed the edge and gave Gavin Hill enough running room to break it around the corner.
And Gavin Hill had to meet up and make a move on Austin Berger. He did, and able to pick up the Hammers 1st and 10 to keep this drive going. Under 3.5 to play now. Elliott in the backfield takes a snap. Quarterback keeper all the way.
And immediately the Oliver Springs guard and center just make a huge hole for the quarterback to be able to run in. So Oliver Springs' offensive line is really dominating this game so far right now.
Rivers still makes the stop for Greenback, but not before a pickup of 4, nearly 5.
Clock continuing to run. We got 2 minutes and 48 seconds left.
And Oliver Springs, again, just in no hurry whatsoever. Under 5 on the play clock now. 3, 2, Elliott snaps it. Handoff Hill. Hill looking for some running room. He finds it. Hill dives forward to the 15-yard line, close to that 1st down marker.
Yeah, I tell you, he's falling forward with a purpose. That big offensive line is doing a good job leaning on the big guys, and he's got enough wiggle to him to break several tackles.
He's got to hold on to that football because Greenback's going to be going for it hard. But it's just watching that Chuck Fleischman replay there to see Hill feel on the left side of his body and then spin back around to his right to pick up some extra yardage. That's great effort, and it brings up a 3rd and 1 for Oliver Springs. And this time, the handoff goes to Heilman, and he gets to about the 15.
Yeah, that time Greenback did a really good job defensively of holding the line of scrimmage and not letting those offensive linemen get upfield.
And Greenback takes another timeout to stop the clock. 1:26 left to go in this one. Oliver Springs is 1 yard shy of the first down. You get the first down, this one is over. You don't get the first down, this one is still likely over, but you have to finish the ball game. What a game.
It's been fantastic, especially with what we saw coming into this game with all the literature going back and forth, the talk going back and forth, and Oliver Springs just stayed quiet, stayed the course, fed that language to their players, and it's fired them up, and what a game. 21-7 right now.
I wondered if they even knew about it.
No, I guarantee you they knew about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's in local media for Greenback.
Oh, yeah, I guarantee
and
they
so
knew about it.
It's not like maybe in the SEC or other colleges where that information is just readily spread. It's not going to get really put on Twitter and stuff for everybody to see. So I wondered if they knew.
Oh,
but
I guarantee you.
When this game started, when this game kicked off, I knew that they knew. It was evident.
Yeah.
And next week we're gearing up to travel to Anderson County as Oak Ridge will be at Clinton. Score of interest with 10:55 left to go in the fourth. Coalfield leads over Oakdale 44-6.
Whew. Tough night for the Oakdale Eagles.
They hit that Coalfield buzzsaw.
Yeah, Coalfield's running full steam ahead right now, and they're playing some really good football.
So fourth down here, Elliott goes for the hard count, doesn't get it. Quarterback keeper now, a late pitch to Hill, fumble on the ground. And Greenback has it. However, I don't think that play was going to go for anything positive anyway, so you really don't lose anything with that turnover there. Would have been a turnover on downs, but you're lucky that ball wasn't scooped up and taken back.
Yeah, you're very lucky as big number 65, Jeremiah Cope, the 11th grade, 5'11", 230-pound defensive lineman, fell on the fumble. That's a big fumble here. Gives Greenback another opportunity to try to punch one in. Now, this has not been a strong suit for Greenback, not throwing the ball down the field, but I've seen some weaknesses in the coverage for Oliver Springs to do that.
And the Bobcats want to take a timeout here, seeing that 5-wide set.
Here is Helen Hammer. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
A lot of years have passed since that TV ad. Hammer stores are still offering up-to-the-minute fashions for men and women, famous label outdoor wear and boots, area rugs, and exciting purchases. All at Hammer's famous low prices.
Race on down!
OEB Law Game of the Week sees Oliver Springs up 21-7 on defense with 79 seconds left to go in this football game. If Oliver Springs can hold Greenback for 79 seconds and keep them from scoring at least 14 points, Coach Larry Green will have his first win against Greenback, and maybe Coach Ryan will say this is a rivalry because, to be honest, this is how they start. Pump fake, looks upfield, that pass is incomplete as Franklin unable to hit his intended target. Franklin is not the best at throwing the football we've seen tonight.
Yeah, it's not his strong suit yet. It looks like they've had some competition back and forth at the quarterback position, but it's a position that they're going to have to figure out in a hurry to get this season moving forward. They've got some speedy wideouts to be able to take advantage of, but you got to be able to get the ball to them.
And this time with Micah Franklin, Austin Berger lines up beside him. Franklin on a quarterback draw play.
Well, that kind of tells you right there with 1 minute to go on the 4th down 14. If they run a quarterback draw, that just tells you their lack of confidence in the quarterback position of throwing that ball downfield.
And Greenback will rush to the line of scrimmage now, 3rd and 4. Franklin takes a snap, looks, and is able to complete his pass.
Looks like a first down, though.
That time it goes to Cade Lawson. That is enough for a Hammers 1st and 10, but just 45.7 seconds remaining in this football game, and still a lot of ground to cover for Greenback. Franklin looking, lets it fly. That's a pretty pass. It's picked off. Going back the other way, Oliver Springs. And it is Dakota Adkins with that interception, and that will do it.
The freshman coming in big with a big interception there. Game-winning interception, if to be honest with you. Great play. Good job by the defensive backs all night long for Oliver Springs. I'll tell you who I'm tipping my hat to so far tonight, and that's the defensive coordinator of Oliver Springs. The game plan they had coming in here, they've done a great job defensively all night long.
And who would have thought coming into this one that Oliver Springs would be lining up in a victory formation to end this football game? The Bobcats put 21 on the board to Greenback 7, and we're getting ready to see Coach Green maybe turn a little blue because he's cold.
Hey, do you think we got a rivalry now?
This is how it starts. You get a little chatter going back and forth, and next season when these two teams play, or maybe if they play in the playoffs like they have the previous 3 seasons, this one is going to be huge. Look at this.
Well, Coach Ryan said, hey, it's not a rivalry until you beat us. And it don't even look like they're going to shake hands out here tonight. That's disappointing.
So the coaches shook hands, but the players did not.
COVID-19. Probably no handshaking.
Well, okay, but we have seen teams shake hands so far this season as Larry Green gets the Gatorade bath.
Well, I tell you, Coach Ryan said it, hey, it's not a rivalry until you beat us. Well, Oliver Springs, Coach Green, they just handed them a good loss. So now we got a rivalry, guys.
What a fun night. What a great night to be here. And I'm going to be candid for a second. We were talking earlier in the week about this ball game, and I thought Greenback would come in, and I thought that they would unleash some rage because this is not what we're used to Greenback being. Losing this much this early in the season, losing the way that they did, and I was completely wrong. Oliver Springs put the fight to them. Oliver Springs stayed composed the entire game. They played a great football game when they needed to run time off the clock. They did it. They kept moving the chains. I'm very impressed by this Oliver Springs team.
It's a major win for this program, especially with everything going back and forth. This is huge. This will spring this team forward for the rest of the year, and watch what happens moving forward with this Oliver Springs bunch. They're fired up, and they're proving some points here. Hey, we're not as bad as our record is showing right now, guys. We're going to come out and upset a lot more people moving forward, and they have a schedule that's very favorable for them to do that.
This is such a statement game moving forward for Oliver Springs because you do look at that record and you do say, hey, they were 1-3. Or I'm sorry, they were 0-4 coming into this game, but you don't see that. If you're some team in Middle Tennessee and you're scrolling CoachT.com, you don't see who they've played unless you look farther into it. So there is a story behind that record right there, and that story, this is a major chapter in that story. And moving forward, we're going to look back on this game that happened on September 19th or September 18th, 2020, and we're going to look at this Larry Green football team and see the talent that they have on the field.
I mean, some people would say, Aaron, that this is the biggest win of Coach Green's career so far at Oliver Springs. Some people could say that.
Yeah, and so we look at the final stats here. Oliver Springs had 7 first downs to Greenback's 9, so Greenback actually got more first downs, but Oliver Springs had bigger chunk plays. Rushing yards, 192 yards on the ground on this Greenback defense. And the first two possessions that Oliver Springs had, I was thinking, like, man, they're going to have they're going to have a really hard time moving the football against this Greenback defense. And, buddy, they changed some things up and got it rolling. 42 pass yards, Oliver Springs. One of those includes a passing touchdown. And Greenback had 104 passing yards, 234 to 168 in total yards in Oliver Springs' favor. And time of possession, Oliver Springs, it was really close in the first half, but Oliver Springs got to hold the ball. They kept the chains moving, and that's how they closed this game up and got the dub.
Well, I tell you, the Oliver Springs offensive line, they need an attaboy because every one of those guys, all five, including that big tight end, 6 of those guys blocked really well all night long, kind of controlled the line of scrimmage, if I'm being honest with you, and that's a big contributing factor of why Oliver Springs won this ball game tonight. They pushed around the smaller defenders for Greenback.
It's an incredible football game. This has been so fun to watch.
It really is, and we'll say thank you to the cameramen, Jonathan and Chris, and the stats, Chandler's handling that, and the producer, Brad Jones, bringing you this game. Beautiful atmosphere here tonight, and we're glad to be able to bring this picture to a lot of people that's staying inside due to COVID.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the weather.
Oh, it's been amazing so far.
It felt so great today.
It's football weather. Finally, you can even smell the barbecue in the air. And,
yeah.
And we got SEC football coming up. It's an exciting time for sports everywhere.
But, yeah, so Oliver Springs comes up and gets this huge win. Coach Ryan 0-6 against Greenback coming into this one, but leaves with a statement victory. And you can see him talking to his team down there, and he's soaking wet.
It's party time in Oliver Springs tonight. This is a staple win for this program. You can't understate it enough. Big win. I know Greenback is down. They've got a very young team, and they're going to be very good in the future, which excites me because it means that we're going to have some heck of ball games moving forward between Oliver Springs and Greenback.
Yeah, I would say so. Try to get you some scores of interest here. In the fourth quarter, Coalfield leads Oakdale 44-12. Meigs County in the third quarter leading over Rockwood 53-14. Ouch, Meigs County is good. And South Doyle leading over Sevier County 53-13. How about that one?
That's a big one.
At the half, the last one we had on Kingston was up on Northview Academy 20-0.
Another big win probably for Kingston.
A final out of Sunbright. The Blue Devils come to town and beat the Tigers 54-12.
Ooh, big win for Travis Tapp and the Harriman Blue Devils.
Austin East remains winless, falling to Greenville tonight 42-0. Anderson County defeats Howard by the same score. And we're going to try to get Coach Green up here to have a word with us and talk to him about this football game.
They are taking this win in. They're going to talk as a team. It's been a struggle. I'm sure there's been a lot of, talk going on because you're setting it 0-4. So I'm sure they're really soaking this moment in and using this as a springing forward moment to really bounce back this 2020 season and finish on a strong hand.
And what a special moment for those players down there, being able to hear this conversation from their coaches and be able to look up to those coaches and know that if we listen to them, they're going to lead us in the right direction. This is one of those games where the coaches are able to build credibility. If any of these players had not completely bought in, that's over now.
Oh, yeah, well, he's coached these kids from middle school moving forward, so they've bought in, and he's done a good job down here with this program and got a lot of good wins. And one of the biggest wins so far for Oliver Springs in a while is tonight over these Greenback high school football team. So, yeah, a lot of good things going on down here in Oliver Springs right now, and Coach Green is definitely taking advantage of that and getting his players to realize, hey, guys, just listen to us. Listen to us a little bit longer. We're going to get some more wins out of this season. It's been a rough schedule, like I said, in pregame, and I don't think you can find anybody in single A that's had a harder schedule than Oliver Springs.
There's no way.
So that took a toll on them. When you roll up into a William Blunt with 2 days of practice, it's hard to do.
Also, this region is just so hard. You see what Coalfield was doing tonight to Oakdale. You saw what Midway was doing tonight to Wartburg. You see what you know what Greenback is, and you saw what Oliver Springs just did to Greenback. This region is tough.
It's brutal. It's brutal. It's year in, year out. It's one of the best regions in single A football until you get down there around South Pittsburgh. So a lot of good football up here in East Tennessee. A lot of good single A football up here in this area. And that defensive coordinator down there speaking right now is one of the main reasons Oliver Springs got that big win tonight. Defensively, they played outstanding. And you can't say enough for that offensive line again for Oliver Springs.
GP getting the win over Scott High, 44-14. We were just seeing that score. And you look ahead at this Oliver Springs schedule. Kingston also gets the – okay, so that has gone fine now. Kingston wins over Northview 32-6, and Coach Pankey is 4-0 with Roane County High School.
Yeah, that's big, Aaron. So Kingston's looked really good. We touched on that in pregame as well. Their offense is hard to stop. They control the line of scrimmage. They pull, do a lot of different movements in the backfield. It makes those defensive lines stand up. And they've got enough playmakers to really run the football and take advantage of that. And the time of possession, I guarantee you tonight, was majorly in Kingston's favor.
So Oliver Springs, they show tonight that they are a player in this region too.
And they're showing right now, look at that. That is a team together. They're praying together and bonding together. They're relishing in this moment. And I guarantee you it's going to be a fun night tonight in Oliver Springs.
So Oliver Springs comes in. There are going to be a lot of people seeing the final score of this one, and there are going to be a lot of people who are surprised by it. You see Coach Green down there talking to other forms of media. But yeah, so Oliver Springs has shown that. I mean, this is a huge win. Anytime anybody can beat Greenback, which by the way, I need to mention, this is Coach Ryan's very first region loss. It came to Oliver Springs. It didn't come to Coalfield. It came to Oliver Springs, and so I mean, this is a major statement, and it shows that Oliver Springs, they're going to be in the picture for not just making the playoffs. They're going to be in the picture for a championship or a home playoff game at the very least, and that is gigantic.
No, it's a huge statement win for this program as a whole. And also all the teams in Roane County is going to be paying attention to not only Roane County and East Tennessee. Wait a minute, Oliver Springs just beat Greenback, 21-7. So, a big statement win for Coach Green and this Oliver Springs program as a whole. And look for them to build off that moving forward in the 2020 season.
And I want to make this comment, too, because I think it's funny. We were talking at halftime about how neither one of us really wanted to put stock into that Oliver Springs Oneida game. And we didn't want to compare that game to what Greenback did against Oneida because it was in week one. There was a lot of uncertainties for every single team out there. But you look at this, Oneida defeated Greenback by a final score of 21-7. Oliver Springs defeated Greenback by a final score of 21-7. And Oliver Springs fell in the first game of the season to Oneida 14-8. And so you look at that and you say, my goodness, Oliver Springs is just as good as Oneida. This proves it right here.
Oh, yeah. That I guarantee you Oneida was paying attention tonight to this win by Oliver Springs. So, I cannot wait to see the Coalfield Oliver Springs matchup. That's going to be a dandy, and should be a pretty big game moving forward.
It will, and Oliver Springs Coalfield has always been a tremendous rivalry because you've got 5 miles that separates the two schools, so they are geographically a rival already, and so Oliver Springs Coalfield have always let's say hated each other. It's been a love-hate kind of
it's
rivalry.
A classic rivalry.
It is.
I mean, those kids play each other from the time they're
Yeah.
4 years old until they're seniors in high school. So, you know, they're very familiar with each other. They basically know what they're going to be running every time they come out, offensively or defensively. They've played each other for 10 years.
Yeah, and I got to say, that game's not really been a whole lot of fun lately.
Yeah, it really hasn't.
It's been dominated by Coalfield, and this tells me that game is going to be as big as it should be.
Yes, and part of that reason was Parker McKinney, who's now at EKU. He's no longer there at Coalfield, so, you know, they're having a little more problems than they would if they had a Parker McKinney. But I'll tell you, it's going to be a great game moving forward. I think Coalfield is improved and a very good-looking ball club. And a couple more weeks, it's going to be you're going to see a really good football game.
Yeah, this will be a fun one. As Coach Green is making his way up to the press box, we'll be able to talk to him about this tremendous win that he just got against this Greenback Cherokee football team. So, Coach Green. Larry Green. Wow. This Oliver Springs football team, you took this team over 3 years ago, and
it's longer than that.
It's
my 6th year.
It's your 6th year. It's been a rough turnaround, I would say, but so much progress has been shown these last couple of years at Oliver Springs. This to me feels like this is the one that everybody might look back to and say this proves that Coach Green and that staff were able to turn this program around.
Well, I'm just so proud for our kids. You know, 0-4 start. We lost a heartbreaker last week, and I told them in the dressing room after the game, I mean, there were some tears, but you know, the only people that can fix this is in this room. And our guys they responded. The best week of practice we've had all year. Coaching staff done a great job. So I'm just so proud and excited for our players and coaches. Big win for us, big win. One we've been looking for a while.
Your season has been insane. You come into this game 0-4, but your 4 losses were against teams that are undefeated right now. And in week 2, you pick up William Blunt like 2 days before that game even happens, and that's a 6A program. So it's very misleading to look at the record and see the type of ball club that Oliver Springs is, and that's what we talked about coming into this one, because kind of the same thing with Greenback. We didn't really know what to expect out of them either because they've had such a tough schedule. But I tell you, do you think playing that gauntlet of a schedule to start got you prepared for this game tonight?
Well, I think it did. My wife told me I was crazy for scheduling William Blunt.
I thought that.
But, you know, Coach Shadowins and I talked before the game, and, you know, when we set it up, I don't go around calling 6A teams for a football game in a regular year, but the COVID thing, you know, and really you don't ever know with this COVID when you're not going to get to play the next week or if football got shut down. So, and not having any scrimmages or 7-on-7, I just felt like an opportunity to get on the field was better than sitting at home or standing on the fence watching somebody else play. So we took that game, and we did have a couple guys get hurt. Lost a sophomore lineman in a non-contact injury on the knee, and Big Evan Martin suffered a concussion, so he was out the next week. But we play a tough schedule to help us get better for our region games because, you know, Greenback and Coalfield are usually, you know, annual top 10 teams. So we think that, you know, playing this type of schedule makes us better, and I think it paid off tonight.
Yeah, and I saw your quote saying that, you know, you didn't want to rob your seniors of a game, their senior season. I got to ask you about this because it was brought up to us, and I think it was really important. There was some smack talk in the media. Coach Ryan had said this is not a rivalry because they haven't beaten us, and we're going to continue to beat them like we're accustomed to. And last year we beat them 88-0 in the 2 times that we played them combined. I was wondering if your kids had seen that. And then they came out with so much energy. They were pumped up, and I thought that they knew what they were playing for tonight.
Well, I printed that article off and read it to them. So, I mean, you know, I'm not going to talk smack like that. No, I've got more class than that. But I did ask him, is it a rivalry now? And he kind of shook his head. Coach Ryan was gracious in defeat, said good job, and I don't want to say too much because I might be playing them again. So, but just proud of our team. You know, that's the first time Oliver Springs has beat Greenback, and you know, to break that 41-game region win streak is something these kids or this coaching staff will never forget.
You've been here 6 seasons. It's all running together for me because I remember covering you when you were still the middle school coach. But I tell you what, I having seen you take over this program and see where it was when you started and where it is now, Coach, this program is a complete 180 of where it was, and that's a testament to the coaching staff and the kids buying into your program and what you're teaching.
Well, I got a great coaching staff. I mean, I can't say enough about that. You know, if you're going to have a good team, you got to have good coaches around you. Surround yourself with good people. Got a great administration here that really supports the football team. So, great fans. Our fans were out tonight. They were loud. This is just a big win. I know we're 1-4, but this is still a big win for Oliver Springs High School football, something we can build on if we continue to improve. Now, if we go lay an egg in our next game, it's not going to mean as much. But I think this team will come in, work hard, and we got a bye week coming up next week, so get some bumps and bruises healed up and get ready to go to Harriman in 2 weeks. It's a region game from here on out, and you know, I told the team after yesterday's practice that we just got to look at this like every week's a playoff game, you know, because, you know, we definitely want to be in the playoffs, and we want to compete for the region championship, so hopefully we took a step toward that tonight.
Coach, I don't want to leave anybody out because your team had such a great team effort, but you had to replace Blake Crace. You had to replace Trey Boswell. The way that, first off, Brandon Nation played on defense tonight was incredible, but then the way Gavin Hill ran the football tonight, and I thought the way Elliott just took over the offense and controlled the game all game long, I can't say enough of your guys tonight.
Well, Zach's, you know, coming into his own as a quarterback, being the backup the last 2 years, you know, is not the same as actually being out there and being the man on Friday night. He ran the offense well tonight, took care of the football, done a good job with clock management at the end, and I think the one pass we threw right there was a strike to Big Tyler Mance. That's a 6'3", 235-pound target there. Kind of hard to miss when you lay it out there for him. So I'm proud of all of them, proud of the whole team.
Coach, this is a big win. You played Oneida to start the season. They're still undefeated. You played William Blount, a 6A football program. Last week you played a 3A football program, Northview Academy, and had to deal with the adversity of lights going off and going into double overtime. And tonight you played and defeated last year's state runner-up. This is a huge victory for your program. Great region win, and congratulations on it.
Hey, thank you all, and thank you all for covering us. Brad, you do a great job with high school football, and I really appreciate what you all do for all the high school teams in this area. It means a lot to everybody.
Appreciate that. And so that's Coach Larry Green getting the victory tonight, and a huge victory, statement victory for this Oliver Springs Bobcat team, defending the home turf against the Greenback Cherokees and able to back up and really come back against that smack talk. And so, like I said, I wondered if Oliver Springs, the players, knew about the comments that Coach Ryan had made. Then I saw the way they were playing, and Coach Green just confirmed it. That became billboard material. He read it off to them. That is not the right thing to do.
You know, we touched on it in pregame there. It's just not what you do. You know, you don't want to give the team that you're playing some ammunition to get fired up in an already big enough ball game that they're going to be fired up in. So I think Greenback's head football coach got a pretty good lesson right there in that regard. So pretty good learning experience.
I'll be honest with you, I think it helped the energy of the players, but I'm not so sure that without that billboard material, Oliver Springs doesn't win this ball game tonight by about the same score.
Yeah, you saw the Olive Springs sideline, the fans, everyone had been reading that material, you could tell. So this whole community was fired up. They had the field looking amazing. Everybody in Olive Springs was here tonight watching this, so thank you for being here tonight.
And I thought that energy might have hurt Olive Springs early with all those early penalties, but they recovered, come get the big victory at DJ Britton Field, 21-7 against region opponent Greenback. Olive Springs' first victory against the Cherokees. So we're going to wrap this thing up and send it to the 5-Star Preps Friday night scoreboard show with Jonathan Cox and David Queener, and so you'll be able to talk to them and get scores from around the area. So for the entire BBB staff, James Gibson, Brad Jones beside me, I'm Aaron Harvey. Hope you've enjoyed this one as much as I have. So long, folks.
And OEB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OEB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OEB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
Evans Mortuary has been serving the needs of families in and around Roane County since 1976. As established members of our hometown community, we understand the security of dealing with people you know you can trust. We build our reputation on this trust. The Evans family appreciates the confidence the community has expressed in us over the years and will constantly strive to earn that favor. Evans Mortuary, 805 North Gateway.
I am a simplicity dealer. This business is my life, my career. If you need a new mower, I'll help you choose the model that will make your property look its very best and even let you take a test drive. When it does need service, you can rely on my factory service training and genuine parts. Because I don't just sell products, I build relationships. I am a simplicity dealer.
S.L. Bowman & Sons, 524 North Front Street in Rockwood.
The Harriman Utility Board is committed to providing safe and reliable natural gas service to our customers in Harriman and Roane County through the use of safe operational procedures with trained and knowledgeable personnel. An odorant is added to natural gas and maintained to a certain level so that in the event of a gas leak it can be easily detected. If you smell or suspect a natural gas leak, please call the Harriman Utility Board at 882-3242. We can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Planning a funeral can be difficult at best, but it can be a lot easier if you work with people who care. That's Davis Funeral Home in Harriman and Wartburg. Davis Funeral Home gives attention to every detail, ensuring your loved ones will be remembered with honor and integrity. Davis Funeral Home works very hard to give you the most professional service possible. Davis Funeral Homes, Morgan Avenue in Harriman and Old Mill Road in Wartburg. Davis Funeral Homes, people who care.
You call your agent with a simple question, only to get sent to voicemail again. We pick up the phone. I get this. Hello, this is Sam. How can I help you? Like I said, we pick up the phone because it's ringing. That's simple human sense.
Ask Griffin Insurance Agency in Kingston if auto owners make sense for you.
Hello, this is Sam.
Hi, I'm Ray Varner, and we are East Tennessee's Ford dealership.
We fish and play in these lakes. We explore in these woods. We experience the beauty and thrill of the ride. And we give you more ways to save with our Ford Summer Sales Event, like this new 2020 Ford Escape, new 2020 Ford Edge SEL, new 2020 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Crew. At Ray Varner Ford, we bring family together while providing the attention you deserve, the care you need, and the